Tesla going down ahead of earnings. Hopefully not too down. I'm holding a little bit of it, so we'll see what it gets. What's up, team? We are back today for Tesla earnings. Let's go ahead and share our screen, get some music playing, all that good stuff. Actually made myself a second cup of coffee, which is kind of rare for me. On today, team. We're gonna put all the details up on the bottom. All right, team. Let me know what your expectations. All right, so we're gonna put the expectations, the actual analyst expectations up here. Again, we're All right, Tesla expecting 75 cents a share on 24.26 billion in revenue. So it's 24.26 billion, I think. 24.26, yeah, you were right. Again, these numbers are scheduled to drop. Will it beat or miss these numbers? Expectations. Again, slap the like button. We cover all the major reports here. There we go. You can see the expectations now. Market's kind of falling, mostly brought by NVIDIA and Tesla. Tesla reacting pretty negatively ahead of this quarter 3 earnings for Tesla. Powell speaks at noon tomorrow. Keep it in the middle. All right. So again, you can see the expectations at the bottom. You can see. We'll look at the scroller in a second to see what we're really looking like here. Is my mic off? My good mic is off. Do I sound bad? Hold on, let me fix this. I don't know why my new mic. There we go. Is that better? That should be noticed better. I don't know why my mic has 10-year yields are ripping highs. Yeah, I mean Tesla's falling 4.9% yields, 4.92 earlier today for 10-year treasury yields. Interesting for sure. Will this crash the market is the question. And I don't know. We'll see. All right. So we're going to do a poll like we always do. So higher, lower, as expected. I don't know. All right, the 3 options. Vote on that poll. We're also going to do a Twitter poll like we normally do. All right, team. So let's go ahead and put this up. Again, will they beat or miss? Let me know. Hit the like button. Slap it real quick. I appreciate it. Again, we're going to do a Twitter poll as well. Beat. And we'll make this, what, 2 hours? We'll make it an hour. Make it short and sweet. All right, we got the poll live. If you want to vote on this poll, we'll share this as well. You can slap a vote on this one real quick too. Netflix Netflix expecting EPS. So yeah, Netflix also releases their numbers today too. I forgot about that. So Netflix today as well. Higher, but probably sell off. Yeah, I mean, Tesla earnings are one of the biggest streams we do here on this channel. So I'm expecting us to have some views and interest here. And it looks like we are. I mean, we already got 74 people in like 3 minutes. And so we're going to have some interest. Again, let's look at the graphs. So let's take a look at the trading graphs. They're scheduled for 4:05 p.m. So they're scheduled for almost exactly an hour. Let's look at EPS graph. So again, remember, EPS is earnings per share. It's a gauge on profitability. What are their margins like is what EPS is trying to show you. What are their margins like? That is what we're looking at in terms of EPS. Here is the trailing 12-month. The quarterly one's usually the one that everybody pays attention to here. And so again, you can kind of see this is the trend of their quarterly earnings. Recently, the last one showed 78 cents per share. The one before that showed 73. The one before that showed 109. And so again, this next one, if it comes in as expected, will look something like that. You know, and again, we'll see where we go in terms of trend. You know, the margins are not looking that great, but they never have been. And when you compare it to something like Netflix, you know, as an example, Netflix is expecting 349 EPS. But when you think about it, like Netflix is software, and so they're going to have less expenses, right? Like the margins on selling a vehicle are going to be noticeably less than a streaming service. And I think that's a reasonable expectation. I don't think that's too bad. We can next look at revenue. So that's the EPS graph. We can next take a look at revenue, and then we can take a look at Netflix if we want in terms of EPS and revenue as well. So here is the revenue expectations. You know, you can see if you wonder why Tesla is so profitable, right? If you want to know why Tesla is so successful as a company, a lot of people don't understand why, but when you look at this, you can kind of see why, which is they're profitable, or they're such a successful company because they spend money. You know, they spend money on evolving their business, right? That's something they've consistently done, and you can kind of see their revenue also shows a pretty nice trend. Last time we came in at 24.92 billion. Now this one is expected to dip a little bit relative to the previous one. The next one's expected at 24.26. So we are expecting it to come in around here, like slightly under the last one, but I don't think that's necessarily bad. You can kind of see growth here has been pretty sturdy. And yeah, 10-year treasury yield pushing up today. Tesla falling down, essentially dragging the rest of the market down along with NVIDIA here. If we look at NVIDIA, you know, NVIDIA tanking the market as well. Although NVIDIA is down a little bit less than Tesla is. Tesla's had a much more weak day. But again, that's all right. We still got time. So we got Twitter polls. 68.5% think they're going to beat. 31.5% think they're going to miss already. We can look at our actual YouTube poll here as well. 46% think we're going to come in lower, 45%, although this number is consistently changing. 40% think we're going to come in higher, 8% think as expected, 6% say I don't know. And yeah, we're watching these polls move a little bit here too. Yeah. Well, we get good or bad numbers, team. Let me know what you guys think. All right, guys. So again, Tesla at 242. 242. Let's look at a longer term chart here. Here's a 20-day chart. You can kind of see we've gone up and down and up and down. Tesla, although dipping a little bit. We really started this decline way back here.
We've since bounced back and then given it back as well. I think a big support level is going to be the low of the last 20 days, this 234.50 level. I think that level makes a lot of sense. We also have like 250 is like an obvious psychological spot right here. And then we also have that level that we documented that seems to be holding pretty well. Like look at the triple bottom there. That level looks to be relevant. Let's see what that level is. This level looks to be at about 247.50 or so, 247.50 for Tesla. And so we're looking at some recent levels. Again, I think the extension now is on the bottom. Now, again, the thing to understand is that there's a couple reasons we could have from this, right? Like this could be from, we could be dropping from front loading into a potential bad reaction here for Tesla. We could be dropping from people fearing what this is going to be, so forth and so on. We don't know why we're dipping so much right now, but it'll be fun to watch. Let's check the chat. 30-year fixed rate just hit 8%. Yeah, that's pretty high. It's been around there for I mean, it's been close to that. Yeah, Nvidia, Tesla both down. Yeah, I mean, the SPY is not really down that much. Tech is down specifically, right? So the SPY is not really like hurting too bad here. Again, here's the SPY. SPY at 430s. I mean, it's not in a good spot, but it's not in like a horrible spot either. We are down, like, just to do the math, so 6 divided by, we're down like about over 1%. We're down like my math might be wrong, just doing it in my head. It looks like we're down about 1.4% today. On the SPY, which is not a good day, of course, but it's not like the end of the world either, Tesla is down pretty heavily. Like if we're looking at a percentage basis for Tesla dropping, Tesla about $240s, $250 stock. They dropped today. Just since the opening bell, we're going to look at the previous close, about 255. They dropped from 255 down to 242, so $13 a share. So yeah, Tesla's down like, 6% today, a little bit less than 6%. So yeah, I mean, Tesla's down heavy. The market's only down about 1%, a little bit over 1%, like 1.5%, but still down. 1.24%. Okay, yeah, I was close. Like I said, I did it in my head. I'm trying to take how much we're down divided by the price of the SPY and get the percentage in my head. But I was close. 1.24 is close enough. And again, we'll see what happens. Tesla earnings today. It'll be fun. We'll see. At the very least, we'll get some movement here. We got a bunch of votes on our Twitter poll as well. Again, 73% think they're going to beat on Twitter. 27% think they're going to miss. Was there an earthquake today? All right, team. Yeah, we did gi jiu-jitsu today. Whew, tired, man. Bro, the grips, I don't like the grips. I like no gi way better than gi. I mean, I'm sure we don't have that many jiu-jitsu people, but like no gi is more fun, man. I mean, it's less stable, but I like that better. I'm better in scrambles than like, maybe it's just because I'm a new white belt, so my technique sucks. And I like gi because there's more scrambles. I can jump guillotines on people and stuff. But anyways. Let me know if I think the music should be a little bit higher. I can add it. Why is Tesla down today? I'm looking up some news here. I can't really figure out much, though. All right, so the UAW president says Tesla is not the enemy in auto strikes. He said, quote, "They're the UAW members of the future," end quote. Basically, the UAW president saying Tesla is not in their sights, essentially. That I would think that would make the market go up. That dropped at about 211 today. A lot of people for Tesla earnings are expecting unimpressive earnings report for Tesla today. So a lot of people are skeptical. Oil is ripping up with all the stuff going on in the Middle East. Oil is rising. That's something to understand. Tesla stock options are priced for smaller than usual moves after earnings. But again, it looks like most people are just waiting for Tesla drops. Rivian is down. Yeah, I'm sure Rivian to a certain extent moves in sympathy with Tesla. Like here's Rivian right there. It's at $18. And so I'm sure it moves to a certain extent in just sympathy with Tesla. And yeah, Rivian's down heavily today too. Rivian's down at a much easier percentage to calculate. Rivian's down 1% today. So again, still most people are expecting a beat on Twitter, on YouTube. I always tell people for individual stocks, Twitter's more bullish for sure. And my guess is because it hits the different interests of Twitter users. On YouTube itself, generally, you get more bearish traders. But it varies for sure. Again, we got a decent amount of votes. We got like 100 votes already in about 10 minutes on the YouTube poll. Rivian started bouts up. Netflix, another interesting one today. And so again, here's Netflix numbers. There's Netflix. Netflix down a lot today too. It's probably one of the other reasons the market is heading down. And again, Netflix releases their numbers right at the close today at 4 p.m. exactly. We also have Las Vegas Sands, Alcoa, Kinder Morgan, Zions Bank, Equifax, SAP, Discover, Lamb, and a few other ones. Again, Netflix is expecting $8.43 billion in revenue on 3.46 EPS, earnings per share. All right, so we're getting a little pop, a little bounce. Yeah, so I'm watching other stuff too. People are auctioning their spot in line for the Cybertruck on eBay, listing their spot for anywhere between $1,000 to $8,000 on the Cybertruck. All right, guys. So again, we did get a pop in Netflix. We did get a bounce. Tesla's still pretty low here. Still pretty low, pretty weak. All right, so Netflix rejecting here under 248. We got the 200 EMA and the volume weighted average price right above us here. Tesla sector is an unknown for me. General Motors files to trademark GM Energy for EV chargers. Put to call is less than 1. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to get here. Again, slap the like button. We got 23 likes. We can do better than that. We still got 40 minutes until Tesla earnings. I'm going to put a timer up. Really, technically, it's like 50 minutes, but you know, we'll call it 49. No, that's a little bit delayed too. My math is off again. We'll call it 45. No, it's a little off. Call it 42. All right. So Tesla started to bounce. Let's watch 244. This seems to be a support level right here, like just under 244 maybe. Like this seems to be a reasonable level to watch. We got this previous low down here that we've already ripped over at 243s. And again, you can kind of notice, you could kind of watch whole dollars and half dollars and get some pretty reasonable support or resistance levels here as well. There's Netflix bumping up to 247s. And so that's trying to make a move. And yeah, Tesla Q3 earnings coming soon. So I see this person on social media complaining about college, but like, I know the problem as soon as she says it, right? She says, oh, I got my business marketing degree. Well, you might as well have a journalism degree, you know, like get a STEM degree, okay? Become an engineer, you know, maybe I'm biased, but like become an engineer, you know, become a doctor, like become a lawyer, like get some type of certificate or get some STEM degree, maybe not a lawyer, but point is, you can't get a degree in marketing and again, you'll be able to get better jobs for sure than somebody without college. All right. So I'm not hating on all business degrees. What I'm saying is that unless you're going to get your MBA, don't get a business degree. You know, if you don't have an MBA, you're going to be at a deficit. You know, if you're going to get a business degree, you better get your freaking MBA. All right. Don't get a psychology degree and have a bachelor's in psychiatry. Again, you'll get a better job than most people that don't have a degree, but you need your master's. You need your master's in psychology or psychiatry if you want to actually do stuff. You need your master's in business. You need an MBA. If not, get a STEM degree. You know, like you can't get a bachelor's like and then complain when you can't find a job. I mean, listen, number one, it depends on where you live because there's some places that it's just hard to find a job. But I digress, I guess. If Cybertruck is released, will they debut the Cybertruck today? That's another question. I don't know. Yeah, like the problem is the standard of college is pushed to so many people, right? There's a go to college. I know a lot of people, some friends like are bitter like that. They're just weird, right? because I make more than they do and I run a freaking YouTube channel, you know? The problem is that everybody pushes kids to go to college, but they don't actually they're not actually thinking about their future. They're just picking a generic degree and they're getting it. And then they're complaining when they can't find jobs, right? And again, that's the problem. Like, you got to understand, you get a business degree, you're going to need your master's. You're not going to be able to quit. I mean, you're going to have a slight edge, but it's not like people are going to be begging for you to work for them with a bachelor's degree in business marketing. It's just not going to work, you know? Anyways, Netflix, pull it back a little bit. All right, so we're at 243 on Tesla now. Remember the guy that said college was for the experience? Yeah, I mean, most of the time they're just trying to justify going. I don't know. My motto is ignore confirmation bias. So many people try to confirm, like, they put themselves 100K in debt and they're just trying to justify it with confirmation bias. Like, they want to believe it was worth it, so they tell themselves that and they argue that, but that's just what they want to believe. Netflix pulling back under 346s. We'll see if it actually holds. Again, slap the like button, guys. We got 35 likes. We got 155 people here. It's not even 3:30 yet. So we still got some time, but still. Short or long Tesla? I'm bullish on Tesla. I like Tesla. I think Tesla's going to go up. We cover all the major Tesla stuff here. If you're shorting it, I'm not mad at you, but I think over time you're going to lose money. But, like, hey, it's all good. Regardless of what you want to do, it's all good. Yeah, if you want to be an accountant, sure, Steven, 100%. I'm not against it. Again, you're going to have a better time finding a job than somebody without a degree, and I'm not arguing that at all because that's self-evidently true, right? What I'm saying is, like, a degree is always better than no degree. I'm not arguing that at all, you know, and I understand that for sure. What I'm saying, though, there's a couple of nuances of it that people have to understand. Number one is that if you're going to spend 4+ years getting a degree, you better make sure it's going to be a reasonable degree enough to make up that 4-year period. Because if you either go work for 4 years or specifically, like if you're entrepreneurial, if you start a business in that 4-year period, your earning power is going to go up way more than what that degree is going to give you. And so I don't think a degree is for everybody. I think if you're going for STEM, sure. And I think if I'm pushing my kids to go to STEM, to get a STEM degree, like that's what I think makes the most sense. Anything outside of that, you know, you better have your master's if it's a business degree, unless you want to be an accountant or something like that. Accountants are desired right now for sure, but it's nuanced and it's I don't think somebody should just get a degree just because they, you know, because that's the standard. Now Tesla numbers are dropping pretty soon. Oh yeah, because degrees are boring. All right, guys. Hey, we still got 30 minutes plus, 35 minutes really, until these numbers drop. All right, so again, Netflix bop it up, sideways action here, and now we're starting to get a little bit closer. We're on the second half of the wait period before Netflix earnings drop. And again, if we look at Netflix EPS numbers, we can look at Netflix here. Netflix on the right. We can look at Netflix EPS graphs right here. And so here's the Netflix EPS graph. So you can see in which how fast Netflix is growing. Their quarterly numbers, you know, aside from this weird little quarter down here from December of 2022, Netflix has had pretty good numbers. That's a weird quarter, though. I don't know what happened. They must have had a big loss or spent a lot of money. But again, 329, 288, 310 is what they showed last time. I wonder if this is affected. This probably has affected Netflix's PE ratio heavily with that 3 quarters ago having only 12 cents. I'm not sure if that's right, but it must have affected them heavily because that is a big dip. Now, again, this time, last time was 329. This time, Netflix is expecting 346, which if we hit this, right, if Netflix hits 346 EPS, that will be their 3rd largest quarterly EPS ever, right? So that's good for Netflix. We'll see if they hit that or not. They're starting to dip down, though. And again, Netflix has had a pretty red day as well. It's not as red as like Tesla, which has been really red, but red nonetheless. And those are really the biggest stocks that we have dropping today. We don't really have anything else that are crazy big in terms of numbers. Cybertruck surprise. I hope they surprise us and announce the Cybertruck. They get bored? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I agree. You're probably right. I'm long-term bullish. I expect that Elon will probably announce a delivery date for the Cybertruck. No, I hope so. I hope he does. I think if he doesn't, and I think if the Cybertruck doesn't come out this year, a lot of people are going to start getting skeptical, is what I think. You know, I think skepticism is going to rise if the Cybertruck doesn't come out soon, because I think it's really important right now for Tesla's long-term health that the Cybertruck actually gets here successfully, because I think like it's been pushed back so much that I think people are starting to become skeptical. Options expect a move of 7% or plus or minus 7%. I expect Elon will probably announce a delivery date for the Cybertruck. No, if he doesn't, it'll show price action afterwards. It'll show. It'll show the price. Yeah, for sure. It'll definitely be influencing things. But I hope he's announcing it. Maybe, you know, I don't know for sure. I hope he is. Go into trades, less debt, more money. Sure, less earning power though, like potential as well though. I mean, it depends. Like you could always start your own business, and I think that's a good move. I'm not against that at all. I think that's a great move. But I also think, you know, people with degrees on average earn more, you know. But again, the question for me would be, can I start my own business and have success in 4 years that are going to set me up for life? Or, you know, is that justifiable? You know, and again, I don't think college is always the right move. I think it depends. It really does depend. Logan Paul declines Dylan's MMA offer. Of course he did, because Logan Paul can say whatever he wants to say. Dylan Dennis is living in his head for sure. Like Dylan Dennis has permanently affected their relationship with his fiance, his Logan's relationship with his fiance, without question. You know, and he's genuinely hurt, like by what he said, and so you know it got to him. And again, I'm not really mad. I mean, Logan said some crazy stuff historically, so All right, so for the first time in 23 years, according to the capacity letters, 8% mortgage rates are officially back. Less than 3 years ago, the average rate was 2.6% for 30-year mortgage, and so they've shot up. They hit 8% today. 15-year fixed is at about 7.29%. 30-year jumbo is about 8.06%, so forth and so on. So rates are up. AMC, how is AMC right now, man? I saw AMC ripping up this morning, and then it turned back down. But again, AMC currently is at a pre-split price of about 92.5 cents. So like even with this crazy run up, it's still less than $1 a share before the split. Anyways, Tesla, guys. Hey, we still got 23 plus minutes. We got about 30 minutes left, but still. Will Tesla eventually lose market share long-term of EVs as all the other companies come out with cheaper versions and begin mass producing? Sure, I mean, they're going to lose market share, but EVs are also going to become more prevalent over time, right? And so, yeah, they're going to lose market share, but they're still probably going to get increases in buys because more and more people are going to start paying and buying and realizing the efficiency and the use case of EVs. It's one of the reasons you've seen Tesla's revenue rip up really well. We looked at the revenue graph earlier. And so in that regard, I think specifically a couple things are going to happen. I think number one, the Cybertruck is going to come out and it's probably going to break sales records is my guess. I might be wrong, but that's my guess. And again, I could be wrong. The other thing that's going to happen sometime over the next decade, in my opinion, we're going to have full self-driving, like legit efficient full self-driving. And I think when people think about the compound effect of this, the snowball effect of, say you have a car that completely drives itself, right? You don't need to sit in the driver's seat either. You can just kind of let it drive you wherever. And you show that to your friends and family. Think about how many of them are going to say, hey, I got to get one. And then they get one. And then they show it to their friends and family. And then they get one. And then they show it and they get one. It's going to snowball into where this is obviously the future, in my opinion, full self-driving specifically. Now, maybe I'm wrong here too. It's certainly possible I am. I just think that anytime we have a technology that is this close and that is this game-changing in terms of everything, I think it's eventually going to become more efficient enough to work. And I think we're almost there now. And so I give it a decade or less until we get that, and it might be earlier, it might be later. I'm not sure, but I think that is going to take Tesla to a completely different level, in my opinion, to where Tesla's already on the forefront now, and they're already doing really well, and they're beating most other automobile industries now in terms of production, sales, revenue. They're already basically one of the largest companies in the world, top 5 largest companies in the world. It's arguable, depending on what you want to look at, market cap, float size, revenue, whatever you want to look at to label it that. But I think when FSD comes out, it's going to completely change technology, and it's going to change how people drive. It's going to change how the world operates. And I think that's going to push it up more. And so, again, that's what I think. I don't think it's going to run out of steam. I think that's looking at it one-dimensionally. And again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't even own a Tesla, right? But maybe I'm wrong. But I think Tesla stock's probably fine long-term. What happens when we all want to charge at the same time? I know, but y'all are looking at future technology and using today's problems as an argument against it. Again, over time, we're going to get more charging stations. Over time, that's going to evolve as well. Yeah, I'm a big sleep fan. I love sleep, So imagine being able to sleep on these long drives. I'm from Louisiana. We make that Baton Rouge trip, a couple times every year. I hate it. I'm going to really look forward to being able to sleep the whole way there. You know? Which one, Pawn? If I had to do it over again, I would have gotten a cheaper 2-year-only degree while building a biz on the side. The best combination of this piece of paper and real life experience is making it happen. Yeah, I think that's the problem. Is like people go to business school, but they don't understand what it really takes and how to really operate one. Well, right, but KC, I mean, you might be that way, but I don't think the rest of the world is. And I think most of the people who have qualms about it are going to be the older generations, and I think over time that's going to fade as well, because young people are going to become more and more accepting as is the way of the world. You know, like younger people are more accepting of things that the older generations, like the baby boomers now, they don't like a lot of different things, but the younger generation doesn't care, and so over time that's going to filter out. And that's the way of the world. That's how it's always been. Hey, what's up, Yelton? All good, brother. Yeah, I mean, I think you got to understand, charging is not going to be a major problem. Most people charge the vehicles from home. So when you buy a Tesla, most people spend the extra $1,000 or $2, however much it is, to get the installer charged, to get the charger installed in their garage, right? And so what happens is they plug it in overnight, and then that next morning when they wake up, they've got what, 200 to 400 miles in range to drive, and most people aren't making big road trips, and so the charging problem is not really a problem unless you're driving cross country, which again can be a problem, but it's not a major one. You know. So Tesla drops at 4:05 p.m. Puppy. So Tesla drops at 4:05 p.m. Netflix drops right at 4 p.m. on the dot. Oh, about AMC, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. The grid might need to be upgraded. They might need to make some changes. I'm not arguing against that, for sure. I think obviously they're going to need to change this stuff, right? But I think efficiency and the improvements in efficiency for driving is going to pull everything towards that. Yeah, but I think most of the people affording a Tesla are going to have their own home. You know, even if they're not, you know, they'll figure it out. You know, it's not something that is necessarily, I don't see that as some huge major issue that they're not going to be able to solve. You know, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. My Tesla charges in 2.5 hours at night with a 240V outlet similar to the ones for your dryer. Yeah. At my condo, 5 of the units own Teslas. We don't have charging stations, so they all fight with other Tesla owners to charge at the mall nearby. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, again, right now we're on the peak of that growth. Or not the peak, we're on the breakout of that. And so we're going to run into, you know, issues. I'm sure. I'm not saying there's no issues. I'm saying over time, they'll figure it out. SPY just cracked lows again under 430. So look at the SPY. Again, we got Netflix dropping soon. And maybe I'm wrong. Again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. 429.50s on the SPY, 429.50s. Look at this breakdown. I'm sure it depends on where you live too. Jojo said, I never fought with anyone to charge my Tesla. Again, I'm sure it probably depends on where you live. When Nvidia keep pulling down or putting out more chargers? Probably. Yeah, the precipice is what I was trying to think of. Polaris, thank you, sir. Yeah, we're definitely down in equities. Almost everything's down. SPY looking weak. Is it time to buy the dip? I don't know yet. I'm probably just going to sit tight. I haven't really been buying up a lot lately. My portfolio is a little bit lighter than it normally is. Yeah, so again, the 30-year fixed rate hit 8% today. All right, SPY with a pretty red trend here. Is it time to short? Is it time to buy? Let me know in chat. Let me look at the Twitter poll that we did. We did a Twitter poll that's been getting some number votes. 74% think we're going to beat, 26% think we're going to miss. If we look at our YouTube polls here, got about 300 votes. 44% actually think we're going to come in higher than expected. So Tesla thinks, most people think we're going to beat on both sides of this as well. So we did polls on both platforms. Interesting for sure. You got over 300 people here now. And again, the numbers drop in about 20 minutes. So we are going to pop up against 243s on Tesla. The low of the day is right around 242. So I'm kind of just tracking whole dollars with how rangy this is. And again, analysts are expecting, what, a 7% move or something like that. So I'm up 0.4% buying, selling the TQQ today. Hey, nice work. I mean, TQQ is just the Q, but it's a cheaper Q. It's a NASDAQ. It's the NASDAQ. Yeah, I mean, that's probably not the wrong way to look at it. So you can see Q Puppy say, the funny thing is the more Tesla and the entire market drops, the more I feel Tesla is going to rally right after earnings. But that's not the wrong way to look at it. It's all based off of extension. So what happens a lot of the time is you'll see big drops in the market, right? And everybody asks the question, will Tesla save the market, right? Like that's what happens a lot. They say, hey, will Tesla save the market? Will Tesla save the market? And a lot of the times these tech stocks do. Sometimes it's Nvidia, sometimes it's Microsoft. Will Microsoft save the market? Will Tesla save the market? And we don't really know. But what we do know, just, factually looking at this, the market's down a lot heading into this. And the market, if we look at a 10-day chart, right, the market's down a decent amount today, still about 1%. But on a 10-day period, the market's still up pretty heavy. And so this extension on the downside might mean that even if Tesla comes in negatively for earnings, even if they post bad earnings, basically, we still might get some good price action from it. Like we might not get the biggest bear response. Now we might. Again, I'm not saying anything. I really don't know. But that's the way to look at it. I think you got to gauge extension heading into these reports. I should buy one call on Tesla now and one call at the open tomorrow. I don't know. My problem with buying call options is that you can't sell in pre-market, and a lot of the time earnings influence these stocks really quickly and heavily, especially in extended hours. And so you being unable to sell until tomorrow at 9:30 seems like a risky trade. It's not a trade I ever take. I never take big positions ahead of earnings. It's just too risky. All right, Netflix. Let's look at Netflix here. Here's Netflix. Again, we're at 340s. Tesla at 243s. Netflix is still sideways. We've been chopping back and forth. Again, the market's dipping down. A lot of stuff's red. It would be nice if we didn't have to depend on just a couple stocks to save things. A wide, deep market would be better. Well, I mean, it's all relative to the weight of each individual company. So it's how big the company is. Like the biggest influential. These stocks are influential because they gauge the economy, right? Including tech. And so they gauge the economy. That's why they move markets, is because they gauge the economy. Tesla gauges the economy. How many people are able to afford a Tesla? How many people are able to buy an Apple phone? How many people are able to do this or that? It's all gauging the economy. If you really think about it in the right perspective, it makes sense. I'm holding a big short position, not looking good. Hey, good luck. Hopefully, I hope you're wrong, but we'll see. Is it 73 cents a share, John, or 75? I'm showing 75, but it varies depending on the analyst. Like, these are bank expectations, right? So these are not all the same. Like, they're not universally one specific expectation. Like, they vary for sure, right? So some analysts are expecting X amount. Other analysts are expecting another amount. Some are expecting this and that. That's kind of how they go. So it varies depending on the analyst is what it is. Long and strong. Let me know in chat right now. Are you bullish or bearish on this? You bullish or bearish, guys? Let me know. Again, we're very choppy ahead of this report. We still got, technically we have over 10 minutes left until this report. Technically, it's scheduled for 4:05 p.m. for Tesla. But we don't really know exactly what it's going to be or what it's going to look like or anything like that. Bullish, bull, bear, and then dump. Bull, bullish, but no positions. Yeah, I'm holding Tesla right now. So, of course, I'm bullish because I'm holding it. Looking at the chat, bull, bear. Mostly bulls. That kind of reflects the polling numbers we did. Yeah, confirmation bias is such a strong thing, Yelton. He said most of these analysts sway for a company that benefits themselves and their peers, it seems. Yeah, for sure. That's how it goes. Confirmation. We're all victims of confirmation bias. I always talk about it all the time. If I buy a day trading course for $10,000, somebody asks me, hey, was that course good? Oh, it's the best course I've ever taken. Greatest course ever. Might say 3 words, greatest course ever. So we're all victims of confirmation bias. I think we come in under but get a short squeeze. Maybe. We got to look at the numbers relative to last time as well. I'm going to say bears do. The market likes to do the opposite. Yeah, the market's contrarian sometimes. Bear, bullish because I own it. Yeah, I'm bullish because I own it too. So that's where my bias inherently comes from. But again, I might be wrong. Who knows? I've been holding it for months though. So it's not like it's an earnings play I'm doing. I'm not buying it because of earnings. Look at Tesla rip. Hey, Tesla with a little pop ahead of the opening bell, giving back some of these losses. But when you zoom out, it's a very small bounce back relative to the big dips we've gotten already. Again, Netflix is scheduled to release theirs in 4.5 minutes. So Netflix specifically is scheduled to drop theirs right at the closing bell. So right at the close is when Netflix is supposed to release theirs. Last time it was a beat and they went from $2.99 down. It's a leak. Yeah. Tesla calls are so cheap right now. They're definitely not cheap right now, I would say. In moments of high volatility, options are generally expensive. So they might seem cheap, but I'm sure the Greeks are not super favorable. Well, because 420 volt charger and Cybertruck is going to increase the offer. Yeah, if they announce the Cybertruck, it'll be chaos. We'll see if they do, but, you know. All right, guys, we got almost 500 people here. We still got 3 minutes until the closing bell and really about 8-9 minutes until we get the actual Tesla numbers. They're scheduled to release at 4:05 p.m. 4:05 p.m. is the scheduled release. All right. All right, so we're going to put this up so you can see it. Again, Tesla Q3 numbers dropping at 4:05 p.m. Release in full call will be streamed live right here. Tesla expecting 75 cents a share on 24.26 billion in revenue. We'll see what we get. If you look at the daily chart, Tesla is the exact sequence as last time when it flew up. All right, y'all ready? Again, we get thousands of people here because we cover it quick. Meta CEO Mark Zuck says they are bringing broadcast channels to Facebook and Messenger and are currently testing the ability for pages to create broadcast channels. Expects to roll it out in coming weeks. What else says the current U.S.? All right, guys, here we go. We still got about a minute and a half. We got 500 people here. Done before the pump. Earnings are scheduled for 4:05, so we still got about 6 or 7 minutes before the actual earnings drop. If they come out at the scheduled time, which I'm showing is 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, that's in about 6 minutes. Again, make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Netflix earnings, which probably will influence tech and the rest of the market, are scheduled to drop right at 4 p.m. in about a minute. So Netflix earnings are probably going to drop in 1 minute or so. And again, we'll see. All right, here we go, guys. 40 seconds. Tomorrow, huge sell-off. Yeah, good or bad, green or red, let me know. Tesla flat. It's flat ahead of the results. All right, guys, 20 seconds here. Let's get ready. All right, so here's Tesla on the left. Here's Netflix on the right. All right, here we go. Watch Netflix. Netflix on the right. There's the closing bell. Netflix shooting. All right, their earnings are out for sure. Look at Netflix, guys. Netflix up to 357s right there. 357s for Netflix. So their earnings are definitely out based off of this price action. Look at Netflix up to 370s. Netflix posted 373 EPS. 373 EPS on revenue of 8.4 or 8.54 billion. Again, third quarter EPS of 3.73 for Netflix. It is shooting up here. Netflix up to 365s. Netflix plans price increases, password sharing effort, boost subscriber growth. Again, Netflix expectations were 346. They ended up showing 373, so much better than expected. 8.43 billion is what they expected. They ended up showing 8.69 billion. So they came in better than expected for EPS and sales. They're also planning a price increase after password sharing crackdown. Big bump on Netflix up to 376. I'm holding Netflix as well, believe it or not. But again, Netflix beat on EPS. I'm trying to see what their guidance numbers was because they did drop guidance numbers just now for Netflix. We'll put these basic numbers for Netflix on screen. And again, Tesla's scheduled to release in about 4 minutes. Here's Netflix numbers right here. And Netflix flying up, which is good. This might save the market a little bit, help the market. Equities are already up heavily based off of just Netflix alone. They also, again, I'm not sure what their guidance expectations were. All right, Tesla's moving. I don't think it's from the earnings release yet, but it is moving. Whoa. Could just be sympathy. Fourth quarter revenue is expected at 8.69 billion for Netflix. 8.69 billion for the fourth quarter. Looking at their guidance, fourth quarter EPS, they're expecting 215. Tesla's starting to creep up a little bit. Again, it might just be in sympathy. They're scheduled to release in 3 minutes. Again, Tesla consolidating at 240s right now. Numbers still aren't out yet. We're waiting for the numbers to actually drop. Again, Netflix has seen a very big rise. I'm going to put some of these news reports in the chat as well as their guidance. Guidance of 215 EPS for the next quarter. End of the third quarter with 247.15 million customers. Fiscal year 23 free cash flow forecast to be 6.5 billion from 5 billion. Raised the price of basic and premium tiers in the US. Again, they're planning a price increase. All right, so here's Netflix guidance numbers as well. We're putting that in chat as well. Also, we're going to slap sub-only mode. And so we're going to throw this in sub-only mode since we can. And again, Netflix numbers or Tesla earnings are scheduled to drop in less than 2 minutes now, into less than 2 minutes. All right, so slap the subscribe button if you haven't yet. We appreciate it. All right, Tesla's out. Tesla posted quarter 3 adjusted EPS of 66 cents. They expected 73 cents. Revenue of 23.35 billion for Tesla. So they missed. Cybertruck deliveries are on track for later this year. So that is what's saving Tesla right now. But again, Tesla numbers are finally out. They released a couple minutes early. You can see their numbers at the bottom of the screen. They posted 66 cent EPS, 66 cent versus 73 cent expected. Revenue of 23.35 bill versus 24.1 billion expected. Although they did specify that the Cybertruck is on track for later this year. So the Cybertruck is on track for later this year. Again, full call will be streamed here live. 5:30. But Netflix helping the market a little bit. The equities market is definitely up. Call is at 5:30. Again, we're going to stream the full call live like we always do. So Tesla not doing that bad. So again, I guess the people betting on lower volatility were correct because Tesla missed on both metrics. They missed on EPS and rev, but they're not down that much. They're pretty flat. It could also be from this also could be from Netflix's rise. You know, Netflix is up a lot, big percentages. So Netflix is up 10% right now from 345 to 375. Or no, I'm sorry, not 10%. Oh yeah, 10%, right around 10, a little bit under 10%, but still, if my math in my head is correct. But yeah, Netflix up around 10% right now. Tesla, again, their numbers are out. They missed on everything, but Cybertruck's on track to be delivered this year, which is good. Hey, thank you, Yelton. Again, Netflix just cracked highs. So Netflix just broke highs. Is at 375. Equities market is bouncing up on this report too. If we look at the SPY's up, not up a ton, but tech is definitely doing better. If we look at like Microsoft at 330s. But look at Netflix, guys. Netflix is saving the market right now for sure. It's up to 378s. Yeah, it's a strange market. But again, there's a reason I don't take big positions ahead of earnings. It's mostly because you never know what kind of stuff you're going to get from it. Like, you don't know if we're going to get a good reaction, bad reaction. Again, luckily, I'm holding Netflix and I've been in it. My average price is 380, so I'm still down, but it could be worse right now. Yeah, earnings are out. They might be right below me right here. Roku running up a little bit too. I guess because of Netflix, probably sympathy. That makes sense, I guess. Netflix is still climbing back up again. The Cybertruck is scheduled to be delivered this year. I'm looking at the Tesla numbers. Weird. All right, so Q3 production was 430,488. So we're going to put this number up in chat too. So again, here's the Q3 production numbers right there. So 430,488. So there's Tesla starting to rise, team. It's all the way up to 242s. We got 1,100 people here. So again, slap the like button, slap the subscribe button if you haven't yet. We appreciate it. We're up to 243s right now, 243s. Netflix is starting to rise a little bit as well. Still, Netflix is keeping going up. Tetflix is, I said Tetflix, is pushing for green in extended hours. It's up to 244s right now. So Tesla is running currently. Las Vegas Sands put the numbers out too. Yeah, the move was probably priced in. I mean, that might be why we dipped. My guess is that insiders were preparing for this release with this, right? We told you guys before this number came out. We told you guys before these numbers came out that because we were down so much already, if we did come in low, we might get less of a negative reaction, and that's precisely what we're getting right now. I also think there's a couple nuances of today that are making Tesla not react super bearishly from this report. Number one, obviously, again, we're down big on the day already leading into this report. That's number one. Number two is that Netflix, another tech stock, is up big percentages, around 10% right now. Just in extended hours in terms of gains for another tech stock, which they do move each other. They do have sympathy with each other. And then number three is that the Cybertruck is on par to be, to start deliveries this year. And that's definitely good. That's what a lot of people are waiting on. A lot of people are going to be hanging on this earnings call, team, when it goes live, because they're going to be waiting to see if we have Cybertruck news. Like, that's what's essentially going on right here, is that people are going to be waiting on Cybertruck news from this earnings call. And again, we're going to stream the whole earnings call like we always do. So stick around. Tesla will stay stagnant or below 246, my 2 cents, maybe. Numbers are out. Yeah, so again, some of you guys might be behind on our stream. I'm also putting up some of these quotes here. You can see them from the chat. They said our operating income decreased year over year to 1.8 bill in the Q3, resulting in a 7.6% operating margin year over year. And again, stick around. We still got some time until the actual earnings call goes live. Yeah, Netflix all the way up to 380s. Again, Tesla is pretty flat from this report. Roku up a lot on sympathy because Roku's a streaming software and hardware, I guess. So All right, so again, Roku up, Netflix gained users. Why wouldn't it be up? Yeah, Netflix is up. There's a lot of reasons Netflix is up. Specifically, number one, Tesla also has this news. So Q3 deliveries are up 27% year over year. They also gave an update on the Cybertruck here that we're going to put in chat as well. They said, quote, Cybertruck deliveries remain on track for later this year. In addition, we continue to make progress on our next generation platform. Q3 deliveries up 27% year over year. Also, guys, if you want to check out one of my sponsors, check out TopStep. TopStep, if you want to day trade, funded account programs are the easiest way. I lost thousands of dollars when I first started learning day trading by putting up the money myself and trying to day trade stocks. A lot of people try to day trade penny stocks or cash accounts. You're going to be restricted. Funded account programs like TopStep allow you to day trade the S&P, day trade the NASDAQ, day trade currencies, gold, silver, and there's no PDT rule. And it's noticeably cheaper and less risk than putting up the money yourself, but the reward is very similar. They're going to give you a demo account, test your skill. If you can hit the target without hitting the max loss and follow their rules, they fund you between $50,000 to $150,000 with a 90% split. There's free funding coaches, and it's just a great way to learn. Trading is about learning how to perform under pressure, and it gives you some pressure. You still have some pressure. It's not the full extent of risking thousands, but that's a good thing. But you're still learning how to trade under pressure, but it's just noticeably less risk. If you lose, you're only out $49 for the base combine. But if you're good enough to pass it, you still get 90% split anyway. And so it's the best of both worlds. Great way to learn day trading. And again, the patterns in the Q or the S&P or the NASDAQ are very similar to large cap stocks. And so there's not much difference. And that's the biggest thing that stops a lot of people from trading futures. Most pro day traders trade futures. And so again, if you want to check it out, they are a sponsor of mine. I'm incredibly biased in their favor because they pay me money. But if you want to check them out, here's the link. Great way to help support the channel. Out of breath here. Netflix all the way at 380s basically. Tesla's still pumping up. Now Tesla is technically green relative to their earnings report. So they're technically green relative to when the earnings report dropped. And so the market is ingesting this as a positive right now. The market is ingesting this as a positive. So again, Cybertruck this year. Are you going to buy one? Let me know in chat. Are you going to buy a Cybertruck? Here, I'm going to end this poll and we're going to ask, are you interested in, will you be buying the Cybertruck? Yes or no? Will you be buying the Cybertruck? Total revenue for Tesla grew 9% year over year, 9%. Again, stick around, guys. We still got like an hour before the numbers drop or before the actual earnings call starts, but that's okay. We're going to stream the whole thing live. Stick around. Yeah, I know the hybrids are doing well where you can use gas for long trips, electric for short, and save money. Yeah, Tesla still technically green. We're over the 200 EMA as well, which is an interesting level here too. Again, also look at this. So Tesla Q3 automotive leasing revenue is at $489 million. Yeah, a lot of people are thinking Q4 is going to be good because of the Cybertruck debut, and maybe. We got about 120 votes in a minute or less. 57% say no, they're not buying the Cybertruck. Again, no judgment here from me. I mean, again, Tesla green though, that's nice. Again, we're also at Netflix too, so we're doing better. Gold up a lot today as well. Still under VWAP. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all relative to the time frame, though. But yeah, you're right. I think a lot of people are going to be waiting for this report or the actual earnings call. I don't know, Vin. I disagree, man. I think the flaw in most people's thinking is because they think that because they don't want something, other people don't. I think you got to understand, again, I've given this dynamic a couple different times, but I'll say it again, and maybe I'm wrong here. You know, maybe this is just my way of looking at it, but I think Tesla used to be a status symbol, and it still is to a certain extent, so I'm not saying it's not, but I think Tesla used to be a status symbol in regards to when you saw a Tesla driving down the street, you said, ooh, look at Tesla, right? Look at Tesla, there it is, ooh, Tesla. I think over time that's diluted a little bit. I think I see so many of them in my area that it's just less cool seeing a Tesla. But regardless of whether people think it's ugly or not, I think the Cybertruck is going to reignite that type of thing. I think the Cybertruck, when people see it, they're going to say, ooh, look, a Cybertruck. Even if you think it's butt ugly, you're going to be like, ooh, Cybertruck, right? And I think that's going to cause a lot of people to buy one because a lot of people just want to turn heads. Like they just want people to look at them. You know, that's true in clothes they wear. That's true in the vehicles they drive. Specific segments of drivers at least. And so I think it's going to break records when it comes live, but maybe I'm wrong. And again, give me your arguments for why I'm wrong in chat. It's all good. Tesla will close at 235 today. Oh, maybe. I don't really mess with cover calls, Reliant. Yeah, BMWs are just not super reliable, man. And I don't know what it is about BMWs, but the drivers are just jerks, bro. Like, there really is something about BMWs. Like, it really was kind of like it was just kind of a joke at first. Like, man, BMW drivers are jerks. But, like, they really are. Like, most of I very rarely see, like, a very kind BMW driver that lets me in, that lets me merge in, and that doesn't drive like a maniac, crazy person. So maybe I'm biased against it. I don't know. Apple TV or Amazon Prime TV are big problems for Netflix. I still think they're ahead of. Yeah, maybe. The gangs in Cali were camping out. No, I didn't see that. But again, none of those are really an issue. Like, those are all just mostly insignificant. You know what I mean? Living in Seattle, Tesla's like a Honda. Yeah. I see them a lot here too. I'm not going to say exactly what city I'm in, but like, I live in like the suburbs. I see them a bunch. The R1T is better than the Cybertruck. What is that, Rivian? Nope. I actually see one of these in my neighborhood. So I've actually seen one of these in my neighborhood. I don't know, man. They're cool. But I've never actually gotten close enough to really look at it or test it out. Again, Netflix at 380s. Yeah, I kind of feel you, Joe. Again, well, I think I think it's subjective, of course. Like, it's opinion based. Like, everybody's different. People like different things, right? I personally love the way the Cybertruck looks. I think it looks like a Mars rover, which I think is cool. But you got some people that just freaking hate it. I think some of it is political bias too. I think Elon's been very outspoken politically, and I think some people can't separate themselves from that in business. But and again, I disagree with a lot of what the dude says too. You know, I'm not, but I like the Cybertruck, and but I also understand why some people think it doesn't look good. price discovery. Yeah. Tesla reveals none of their $312 million Bitcoin was sold in Q3. And so let's see how crypto is reacting to all this stuff too. Bitcoin didn't really react that well. Again, Bitcoin's still dealing with Netflix just cracked highs again. So Netflix just cracked highs. Again, Tesla's still right at that 244, 200 EMA level. Bitcoin's still reeling from the great, again, a couple days ago, there was big crazy hype in terms of, the spot ETF approval, but it wasn't actually an approval. Like I saw a lot of people being like, yo, it was approved. It was approved. It actually wasn't. What happened was that the SEC declined to appeal the Grayscale decision, and that paved the way for a potential Bitcoin spot ETF approval, but we're not actually there yet. And so Bitcoin ripped up 30,000+ and then pulled all the way back to 28,000, but it still held some of its gains though. Again, we're at 244s. Netflix at 381s. Got to catch back up on the chat. Yeah, maybe pew pew. I heard a bunch of different theories on why the rip happened. I also heard that some falsely reported it was approved. You wonder if it was just kind of not hackers, but people trying to influence it intentionally. Like people just like trying to cause these pumps, you know, maybe. Quit Sam Bankman-Fried, dude. Sam Bankman-Fried gambled with billions of dollars of people's money. Dude needs to go to jail. You know, like my guess, without like looking at the psychology of Sam Bankman-Fried, right? Like he looks like a dude that might have been picked on in school, you know? And again, I'm not judging if he was. Like I got picked on when I was really young too. Most of the people that pick on you, they turn into nothing, though. Like they're just, you know. But Sam Bankman-Fried looks like the dude people picked on in school and struggled, you know. And so I think when he found success in things, he desperately tried to hold on to that success, and he used people's money to do so, right, to commit fraud, so that he would keep the facade of just wildly successful genius because he was getting something that he never actually got before, which is admiration and respect. You know, and maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm just throwing this out there, but I think that's probably what happened. And I think that's what drove him to commit the fraud when like the crypto crash happened. And part of it was sparked by Sam, but part of it was also sparked by the months before that. We had the Luna disaster and all that stuff. And I think he was so desperate to look and seem successful that he made some bad decisions. And I think he's going to pay for those decisions. And again, let me know if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. That's my guess. Like when I'm trying to analyze him like psychologically, that's what I think it is, right? I think he probably got picked on when he was young, and with that, he couldn't accept. Like he would have still been a billionaire though, bro. Like the dude could have still been a billionaire. He just was so desperate to make it look better than that he, you know, that he took unnecessary risk and committed fraud. Yeah, for sure. I know Do Kwon and the Luna disaster caused the crash, but the SBF thing definitely poured gas on it. Conference call is in about an hour. Sounds plausible. That's my guess. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, let me fix the timer, bro. I got you. Hold on. We got about an hour and 5 minutes still. Sounds like my kids are home. All right, so we're at 384s on Netflix. Netflix still rising. We're actually pretty close to green on the day. You can kind of see how much we were down on Netflix. We got like 8 shares. We're up $223 on the day on Netflix. Big thing people don't talk about with Tesla is no services in most cars on tire and fluid changes. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to it. That's what I'm saying. It's such a tricky thing to analyze because it's like, okay, you gotta. Sorry, my kids are here playing in the background, but you gotta understand that like big oil runs the world, right? So a lot of people are pushing big oil's arguments without really realizing it. They're oblivious to the fact that they're pushing like big oil talking points, right? So if you got to look at big oil, and big oil like unmistakably runs the world, right? So what is big oil going to push? Big oil is going to push, they don't like EV. They're going to be anti-EV. They're going to lobby against EV. They're not going to like EV at all. Why? Because it threatens their whole industry. And so, and again, they have very deep pockets. And so they're going to push and put out a lot of propaganda and a lot of different stuff saying, oh, EV's bad, EV's bad. You know, they're trying to trick you. They're trying to do this. EV's bad, right? But you got to really remember, big oil runs the world. And so, and again, objectively looking at EV, okay, there's a couple different things. Number one, in terms of speed, obviously faster vehicles, easier to accomplish speed, faster, smoother, all that stuff with EV, right? Mileage is obviously better with electric vehicles. It looks like they mesh better with technology in terms of like autonomous driving. There's just a lot of arguments for EV right now. You know, there's a lot of arguments for the efficiency of EV in terms of comparing it relative to the internal combustion motor vehicles. You know what I mean? And so over time, generally, aside from a couple of different examples, over time, that efficiency is going to make that the main future that we have to look forward to. It's not a given though, and again, I promise you, big oil wants to procrastinate that as much as they can, and that's the thing to understand. And again, I'm not saying that your arguments against EV are wrong. I just think that it's very self-evident that EVs are better and more efficient vehicles. You know, that's what I think is very obvious. It's very clear. It's very self-evident that EVs are going to be better vehicles overall. Sorry, my kids are playing. Hold on one second. All right, sorry. You mean having a drive system that reacts quicker is better for autonomous driving? Yes. Batteries still suck though, sure, but like, you know, there's more arguments against the internal combustion motor than there are against EV. Crypto is useful, but it depends on how you look at it. If you look at it like crypto is the real use case of crypto is as a hedge against inflation, right? So the real use case is a hedge against inflation, right? In that regard, that's what most major investment vehicles are: S&P 500, NASDAQ, gold, real estate. They're all hedging against inflation. Their job is to keep up with inflation over time, because if you sit on cash, you're going to lose money. You know, as time rolls on, you're going to lose money. And that's a very obvious thing that almost everybody that invests should understand. So number one, crypto is a hedge against that inflation. Crypto also, the problem with crypto is that it makes banking more obsolete, because you don't need a teller managing your, you know, system for you. It does all that like automatically. And so the banks certainly don't like crypto. And the banks also run the world. You know, and they want to keep us on the private banknote system, which has pros and cons. I'm not really against all of it, but again, I promise you, they don't like crypto. Yeah, Netflix is up a lot. Yeah, I'm letting the kids play. I'm not yelling at them or anything. They can play. Yeah, for sure. Currently, that's the real use case. Like that's what it's doing is it's helping inflation. But long-term goals are admirable. Decentralized exchanges faster and easier. NFTs for tickets, etc. Yeah, the problem with NFTs is that they're used in the wrong way. Like I don't think making NFT art is the right move. I think NFTs can be used to hold music, do a lot of different stuff that they're not being used for now, or at least that are not the main argument use case for. So I think the problem with NFTs is that speculation tulip fever took off with them, right? And people ended up just burning through and speculating and gambling on them, and that caused problems over time. Yeah, I've been down on this Netflix trade for a minute. I'm gonna take out, you know, a little piece of this position, you know, about a third. Almost at the 390s on Netflix. Gold still having a pretty big rip up today as well. Maybe a tech rally tomorrow, maybe. Germany marching towards legalization, according to Benzinga. I'm for legalization, man. It's time to legalize. Here, I'm gonna swap my headphones out. Legalization is something that should have been happened, man. What I find crazy is that the public is so easily manipulated. You know, like the problem really is that it's been a while since I did an earnings stream. But man, I gotta figure out this camera. Oh, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Is this live? No, it's not live. We are a automated EV. We are an automated AI robot that predicted what you were going to ask me and repeated, you know, the correct answer back to you, sir. Netflix rip it up. Look at Tesla. Tesla back up to almost 247s. We'll see if we actually hold. Netflix at 390s right now. Where's Nvidia doing all of this? I haven't really watched it. They get Netflix all the way back up to basically 390. Let's see if it continues. Nvidia is up a little bit. Nvidia really didn't have that red of a day. I mean, it had a red day based off of where it closed yesterday. But since the opening bell, Nvidia's roughly where it was before. I mean, it's still a couple percent lower, but not the worst. Again, look at Tesla rip. Tesla at 248s. Netflix at 390s, basically. Yeah, look at Tesla rip. Tesla at 248s right now. Let's see if there's any other news on it. Steel Dynamics reported numbers. So many data points here. Fed is going to release the October 23 financial stability report this Friday. Tesla planning to grow production as quickly as possible in alignment with the 50% CAGR target we began guiding to in early 2021. No, Tesla missed. Cute. When they say beat, what they're referring to is not whether they moved up or down from earnings. What they're referring to is, in fact, is actually whether they came in higher or lower than the expected number, than the expectations. And in that regard, Tesla missed on both. Netflix up to 390 basically right now. The call is in 54 minutes. Bro, I need like... Thought it was gonna work for a second. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Hold on. Oh. We'll figure it out. Yeah, definitely top 3, John, for sure. Best looking streamers ever. Well, I can't buy a Tesla truck because I can't drive. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Tom. I hope you learn one day. Netflix will have a huge sell-off tomorrow. Maybe. I mean, it's up a lot. We already took some profit on it. Because we were down. I mean, our average price is $384.50, so we're green, but we were down prior to this. We got lucky. This wasn't really an option or an earnings play. I ended up buying this a while back, so I didn't really buy up Netflix for earnings specifically, but yeah, I mean, cute puppy. Again, beating earnings does not mean they ended green or in earnings. Beating earnings means they came in above expectations for their EPS, which is earnings per share, which is just margins, right? EPS is profitability, revenue. There's three major metrics that you look at for earnings. There's EPS, there's revenue, and then there's guidance numbers for each of those. And so Tesla technically missed earnings. They came in worse than expected on both metrics, both EPS and revenue. They came in under the expected numbers. If you look here, Tesla posted 66-cent EPS when they expected 73 cents, which was lower than expected, which means that they had less profitability than expected in terms of EPS, as well as revenue of 23.35 billion when they expected 24.1 billion. So again, technically they missed earnings. Now they're still getting green action here, probably for a few different reasons. Again, number one is that they already had a pretty big, bake-in moment today where they dipped a lot ahead of these earnings reports. So this might be insiders right here that were just prepping for the negative release. And then now that happened, we're not dropping as much as we should. I think the main reason is actually because the Cybertruck is on par for delivery, which is good. So the Cybertruck deliveries are on track for later this year. And that's been a huge thing that the whole Tesla stock hold community has been waiting on. I think that's most likely why, as well as Netflix, another tech stock doing well, and sympathy movement from that is what I think it is. And I mean, it's all good. I'm just helping you understand like what beat and miss mean. Beat means better than expected EPS and revenue. Miss means worse than expected EPS or revenue. And Tesla technically reported worse than expected numbers. Yeah, the sun's definitely not in my eye and bothering me right now. It's definitely not. Where will Tesla close today, guys, is the question. Bro, good thing I'm not a freaking vampire right now, dude. I feel like Edward in Twilight, like, Like, what a spot for the sun. It's literally just in my eye right now. Like, great. Like, why is this window right here? I need sunglasses. Here, I'm gonna get Kiro to bring me some freaking sunglasses right now, dude. This sucks. Like, what a spot. It's literally like the only place in my room it's pointing to is me. I need to get blinds. All right, it's sunglass time. Yeah, AI is big, man. AI is gonna go crazy. Hey, baby. Hello. Hey, can you bring me some sunglasses? Yep, some sunglasses. All right, yeah, I'm struggling right here. All right, I love you. Thank you. All right, sunglasses are coming. Yeah, definitely top 3 sun in my eyes YouTube traders in the world right now named John. I don't know. Tesla's not hitting 215. I mean, it could. Tesla has pretty big volatility, but 230, maybe. You think Netflix is going to hold? Probably not all the gains is my guess. My guess is it'll pull back a little bit. I think it'll be green relative to where it was. Like, it's going to be over this, I think, but my guess is it'll pull back to like 370, 365, 370 by tomorrow. But again, I might be wrong. I'm not sure. Generally, they don't hold the full gains. A lot of the time, they don't, like when they dip down, they don't hold those gains either. Like, one of my favorite strategies short-term in swing trades is looking for these really healthy blue chip companies to have obvious overreactions and on the downside. So like mixed results, but the company drops 10%. I usually love buying those dips and then just sitting on them for a couple weeks. And usually they almost always bounce back and I can earn a little 2-3% bounce back on the trade. That system seems to work well for me. And so in that regard, like the same thing on the upside here, where Netflix has just pumped up big amounts. versus where it was. And so I'm sure it's not going to hold all these gains, but it might. I mean, you never know. It might just keep on ripping. We don't know. Yeah, I mean, I've considered that. The problem is this window's like way up there, right? So this window's like way up there. And so it's going to be hard for me to even hit this window. Dude. At least I'm getting like UV right now. What do you think about Lucid? I think Lucid, while it's cool, I think they're cool. Again, I said this a few years ago. I think Lucid's going to fail. I think most of these up-and-coming EV brands are going to fail, excluding maybe Rivian. I think Mullen's definitely going to fail. I think Lucid's probably going to struggle and fail. I think Polestar's probably going to struggle and fail. I just don't think they have the consumer base they need to succeed. I don't think they have the infrastructure to really use them correctly as well. And I think most people, if they're going to buy an EV, they're going to buy one of the big boys that they know are going to have the infrastructure and the reliability in terms of service to actually be able to sleep well at night buying it. You know, nobody wants to be Clark Griswold on National Lampoon's Vacation, you know. And I think buying some of these obscure brands that are pretty new and their price of the stock is under $5 and they just have a huge downward trend and the company's just, you know, burning through money. I think it's very hard to have confidence in that type of thing. And so I think best case scenario for a lot of them is that they just get bought out. But I think a lot of them are just going to fail. You know, I think Mullen is one you hear a lot, but Mullen's a terrible company, terrible stock, terrible cars. And I think the only reason people really push it is because they bought it way higher and they're desperate for it to go up. Rivian's different. I think Neo's a little bit different as well because it's overseas, and I think they're going to do whatever they can to compete with the U.S. Netflix over 390s right now, guys. So look at Netflix. And again, I might be wrong. Don't hate me just because I don't like your EV companies, guys. But look at Netflix, guys, all the way up to 390 and a half, almost 391. A lot of people say them. The manufacturer that builds a simpler EV will have the best chance. No extras, just a means of transportation. I mean, we already have those, but I feel that. I understand that, you know. But I think that's a different niche altogether. It's not really going to affect Tesla that much. I just think, like, I think what a lot of these companies are doing, like Lucid and Polestar and even Rivian to a certain extent, Neo for sure. Like you see the Neo executives camping out at the Tesla debuts and kind of taking pictures of the Tesla because they want to copy it, right? But I think the problem is that people are just going to buy a Tesla. They're not going to buy a knockoff Tesla. And so the problem is that they're creating vehicles that look exactly like a Tesla, that they're trying to compete with the Tesla in terms of design. They're kind of copying off of it a lot. And I think most people are going to spend the extra $5K or whatever it is just to buy the actual thing instead of the knockoff version of it. If everybody wants Mullen to go and buy a Mullen EV, yeah, I think people are good on that though. You know, I don't think people are necessarily going to want it. Tesla started to dip back down. It's at 244s. All right, guys. Whew. We'll see what happens with Tesla earnings call. Hopefully they say something good, man. I just sold Netflix at 391. I mean, yeah, it might not be bad. All right, so Tesla finally starting to come back down. It's testing the 200 EMA right now. And so we'll see if it actually holds, but it's getting close there. Sorry, I'm waiting for these sunglasses. My eyes are starting to hurt, to be completely honest. Thought Netflix instead of Tesla today before the earnings release because, in my opinion, everybody uses Netflix worldwide, but not everybody uses Tesla. Yeah, I mean, and I get it, but I don't think that's a good trading strategy necessarily. I think it's much more nuanced than that. Okay, yeah, it's all good. I don't care. Thank you, Barry. Yeah, I literally can't see now. Great. Here, wait. Yeah, they look kind of blurry. Sorry, guys. The sunglasses Carol gave me are like, I gotta wipe the screen. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna work. Yeah, this sucks, guys. Here, hold on. We're gonna have to figure this out. Okay, now the sun's basically gone. Hold on. All right, that's much better. I mean, I still got freaking sun in my eye, but like it's all good. You're glowing in the dark. Yeah, you're blind but styling. That's right. Hey, I'm blind, but I look super cool with the glasses. I'm not blind. I can see, but yeah, this might be live, Eric. I mean, it might not be, but hey. Yeah. Whew. All right. Let's look at the polling numbers here. We asked people, are you going to buy the Cybertruck? Will you be buying the Cybertruck? We got like 600 votes. 32% say yes. 54% say no. 14% say I don't know. Are you going to be buying the Cybertruck, guys? Let me know what you think. All right, so Tesla back over the 200 EMA. Netflix just, man, Netflix is the star of the show today, the belle of the ball. You know, just flying up. Tesla's starting to move up again. The big words are going to be waiting on the Cybertruck announcement. Does LSU play next week? Yeah, they do. Are they playing? Nah, they're playing Army. Give me game. We got Bama November 4th. Oof. LSU or Bama, guys. LSU or Bama. If you say Bama, you're banned forever. I'm just joking. Kind of. Whew. All right, guys. Netflix still testing 390s. 390 seems to be a support or a resistance level here. Again, I don't know. It seems to be. What happened with Tesla? So Tesla missed on both EPS and sales, or EPS and revenue, right? So Tesla missed on EPS and revenue, but it posted confirmation in Cybertruck deliveries this year in 2023, as well as it already dipped down pretty heavily prior to the earnings release, as well as Netflix, another tech stock, had a crazy good day today, right? So all of those things are making Tesla actually stay pretty flat, slightly green from this report. I would say it's slightly green from this report. It's still missed, so it was a miss in both metrics, EPS and sales, or EPS, yeah, and sales. But again, tech is doing better this afternoon in extended hours, especially relative to where it was at prior to the closing bell. Netflix kind of saving the day a little bit, and again, we're still waiting on the earnings call, but I guess people are anticipating that Elon is going to say something regarding the Cybertruck in the actual earnings call. Now, it could be good or bad. So if he says that Cybertruck's going to be coming out this year for sure, then Tesla will probably rip up regardless of the lower margins and miss on revenue. But if he also says that we might have to push it back to next year, that could cause some bearish nuance. So we'll see. I feel when Tesla's self-driving is confirmed to be safe and effective, then Tesla will really rally. Yeah, 100%. I mean, their self-driving is pretty reliable already. Their FSD is a different story, right? So they're full self-driving. So like they have self-driving now, and it's pretty reliable. I mean, people use it all the time, to be honest, right? Like there's a bunch of propaganda out there acting like it's just the sketchiest thing ever. But I think I've actually seen the self-driving work, and it works very well, right? It works very well. If it didn't, you'd hear a lot more negative stuff about it, right? So now the FSD is a full, like a completely different thing. The full self-driving, meaning you don't even have to sit in the driver's seat, is a completely different thing that they're going to need to build regulation for. You have to do a lot of different stuff before that is, is really working well to a point in which they're going to have approval to be able to do it without driving. Yeah, all good, Jay. Yeah, for sure, Dwight. Like people act like the self-driving doesn't work, don't understand. They've never used it. The self-driving certainly works. I think a lot of people are behind on the tech, but the self-driving certainly works. Now the FSD is a different thing, and that is, we're not sure when. I think sometime over the next 10 years, the standard of driving is going to change to a more self-driving, driverless standard. Now, again, it might be later, it might be earlier than that, I don't know. But I think over time that's going to happen. I think Tesla has positioned itself right now to be on the forefront of that and to benefit dramatically from that type of thing getting in full effect. But again, that's just speculation. I'm not sure what we're going to get. I think that's the case. And again, if you disagree with me, it's all love here. Let me know why. Yeah, world's a scary place right now, man. Looking on these, looking on social media, especially. I think the world's always been crazy. Again, I talk about this all the time on stream, but the world's always been crazy, man. The difference, like, think about World War II and the events that led up to it, as well as World War I. Although people, I think, understand World War I a little bit less than World War II, but we can take World War II and put that into perspective here, right? Preceding World War II, like pre-World War II, they had the biggest depression the world had ever seen, where everybody was out of work, there was no money, everybody was dirt poor. Following that, you had this crazy dictator that did a bunch of crazy stuff. Following that, you had the Cold War. Following that, you had just a bunch of stuff going on. And so the world's always been crazy. Like, we've always had these crazy things going on. The difference nowadays relative to back then is, like, nowadays we have 24/7 live news reporting it all. And so now we know about all of the crazy stuff that goes on throughout the entire world as soon as it happens. And that, relative to what it was back then, drink every time I say relative, that based off versus what it was back then is just different. People just didn't understand. It was kind of, the less they see, the less they worry. And now we see everything going on. Flying taxi. Well, flying is not really feasible, I think. I mean, we could fly, but I think if anything, drones are going to be the next step in that. But it's just going to be such a different thing versus what we have now. Baby steps. Yeah, but wouldn't more drunk non-drivers be safer than drunk actual drivers? You know, and my guess is you're meaning that people are going to drink more because their car can drive themselves. And maybe that's true, but I don't think that should cancel out the technology or the need for it. What's the chance Elon talking about the Cybertruck can save Tesla from dropping overnight? Pretty good chance. If he talks about the Cybertruck, specifically if he confirms that the delivery will probably be this year, that is certainly going to help the sentiment of Tesla right now. And I mean, Tesla's not really that bad. It could have been a lot worse based off of the numbers that it got. So the numbers for Tesla were not good. They missed on EPS, missed on revenue. But again, simultaneous to the numbers coming out, they reported on the Cybertruck. They confirmed the Cybertruck for this year, which canceled out the bad earnings, is what I think. As well as, like, again, you got to play extension here. Before these earnings releases, we told you guys that we were down so much today that even if the numbers came in negative, that we might not drop that much because we were down so much. And so, again, we dipped this much throughout the day today, and then the numbers came out, and they were bad, but we're green from it. And again, it's based off a lot of different things. Number one, again, Netflix, when you look at the right side of the screen here, had a huge earnings release. Crazy good action here, crazy big upward move. That had a lot of sympathy in tech, a lot of sympathy in tech, and tech stocks rose, including Tesla. Tesla is a tech stock, as well as the Cybertruck confirmation this year. How do you at people? You push at and then you type their name. It's cap sensitive though. Where's bond yields at? Again, bond yields at 4.9% right now. So bond yields are approaching highs, which is really interesting too. Kathy Wood said Tesla will be $2K per share in 2027 because of robotaxi. Yeah, I mean, I probably agree with her, to be honest. I think that's plausible for sure. I don't know if it's going to be in 2027. I think it's certainly possible for them to hit $2,000 a share sometime over the next decade because of that specific reason. Again, robotaxis. I think that's going to be a crazy influential thing over tech and automobiles because I think there's going to be a snowball effect that people aren't understanding. I think based off of where we're at now with FSD versus where we need to finish it to get it fully out, we're close, right? Now, we're not that close, but we're close to a point where we're close enough to where it's fairly predictable that that's something that's going to be here within the next 2 decades, max. The next 2 decades. Might be way earlier than that, might be in the next couple of years, might be 2 decades. But I think we're close enough now to where it's going to be a thing, and I think that's very obvious. Now, when you take that into account and you understand that it's going to be a thing in the future, right? I think it's inevitable that it's going to be a thing based off of where we're at now. Then you have to understand the snowball effect of that coming out, right? So imagine, again, I said this earlier, but imagine one of your friends or family members comes to you and shows you an efficient, effective, safe FSD driving car, like full self-driving car, right? That drives itself, where you don't even need to be in the driver's seat, and they show you that. Most people are going to be like, wow, and a lot of people are going to say, not everybody, but a lot of people are going to say, I want one too. And then they're going to buy one, and then they're going to show their friends and family, and then they're going to buy one, and then that's going to repeat and snowball to where it's going to completely change the industry. And it already has, and it, again, it's going to happen. I think it's inevitable. And again, I think Tesla has positioned themselves to be on the forefront of that technology, to where, and excluding something crazy happening, I think Tesla's setting themselves up at least for big success in the future. Now, again, it's not a for sure thing. Nothing ever is, but I think it's pretty likely. But again, at the same time, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong there. Yeah, maybe DFV, but maybe not. Again, the only thing they really have that's even in the same ballpark is NIO. And again, I still think they're light years away from Tesla right now. And again, I don't own a Tesla. It's not like I'm like some big super fanboy or anything like that. I just think that that's the obvious path for them. And I think if I'm Elon, that's what I'm focusing on. And I think that's obviously what he is too. I think that's how you make Tesla, 10x into the future. You know what I mean? Yeah, Netflix almost up to 392s. We still got about 25 minutes left until the numbers actually drop. So 25 minutes. All right, so I'm going to turn this off. Good question. What year do y'all think FSD will be out live? FSD is actually going to be out like fully in live. List the year in chat. I'm going to go with 2028. Again, that might be a little early though, but I'm guessing 2028. Here, we'll ask this question. Again, what year will FSD be fully out and usable? Chinese chip wars. Don't forget China controls lithium. Yeah, for sure. Lithium is a big factor in batteries too. VinFast? Wasn't Vin? Or what is VinFast? VFS, right? Yeah, VinFast went from 93 down to 6. I told you guys this would probably happen for it, though. Very rarely do these crazy big pumps ever hold. Look at Tesla. Tesla's still at 246 right now. So Tesla at 246. Again, guys, we need about 110 subscribers to break 116,000 today. Just 110. We could hit that, I think, pretty easily. So again, slap the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Let's keep the growth up. Yeah, still got the sun in my eyes. Oh, man. All right, we're getting close, though, here, team. So we are getting close to the earnings call. Again, will he confirm the Cybertruck is the question. I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think. Will he confirm the Cybertruck? Again, so Netflix is going to increase the price of its premium service by 15% to $23 a month, basically. Everybody's got their favorite crappy movie that they'll defend to the edges of Earth. Ooh. Mine is probably Dude, Where's My Car? It's a terrible movie, but it's hilarious. You know, it's a childhood movie. The Fifth Element's so good. The Fifth Element's so good, though. Like, The Fifth Element's a genuinely good movie. People act like it's not. Just they don't have, they don't have culture here. Like, Fifth Element's just good. Tesla was the most shorted stock in August, so it's fighting the big boys now. That's been the most shorted stock. Tesla's thing is, like, people have been hating and shorting Tesla for so long, but Tesla has kind of ripped in everybody's face. They've gone up despite the bears. Tesla's always been one of the most heavily shorted stocks for the last, like, 5 years, I would say. Well, there's a lot of reasons. Elon hasn't necessarily been smart. He's been really outspoken politically, and I think that creates enemies for sure. I think people get really wrapped up in politics, and I never have been the type of person that gets wrapped up in politics, but I think when he's outspoken like that, people are going to get mad. Jerry Maguire's good. My house is a big The Office show house. Like, my whole family. I hated The Office when I met my wife, but she watches it every night, and, like, it's like our family show. My daughter loves it. My son loves it. Like, it's like our family show. And now I love it too. Like, it's like my comfort show. But the ironic part of it is that, like, with how many Jerry Maguire references is in The Office, Carol's never seen it. Like, I kept telling him, like, hey, like, this is all from Jerry Maguire. Like, this is all from Jerry Maguire. Like, these references are Jerry Maguire. And, like, Carol's never seen Jerry Maguire. I watched Jerry Maguire with my daughter, and my daughter was like, oh. And it's like, yeah, man. Like, it's all Jerry Maguire. It's a good movie. It's a little cheesy for me. I don't know if Jerry Maguire's necessarily aged super well either, but yeah, still good. Neo at $8 here, so we'll see if Tesla holds it up. Again, Tesla's sitting just under 248s. The high of pre-market for Tesla is 249.30. So Tesla creeping up towards the pre-market high, or the extended hours high, I should say. full self-driving by 2030, then we'll all be taking a robo-taxi. Yeah, it's going to be here sometime soon. Again, my guess is sometime over the next decade, and that if Tesla's still at the forefront, Tesla's going to be the one that benefits from it. But again, I think it could be anything, man. I think it could be next year. All right, guys. Again, earnings call soon. Earnings call soon. We still got 25 minutes before Tesla earning call. We got like 800 votes. 53% say no, they are not buying a Cybertruck. 33% say yes. 14% said I don't know. So again, 30-year mortgage rates rose to 8% today for the first time in 23 years. Again, real estate mortgage guys are struggling right now. They really are, man. It's really hard to talk people into buying at 8%. And again, I've seen it a lot. Like, I have my real estate license. I don't really do a ton of real estate, but like I have my license. And again, it's really hard. I mean, I'm not trying. I haven't really been doing any business since interest rates rose. But yeah, again, real estate's, a lot of real estates would just tell you everything's fine. Everything's fine. If I'd have a very hard time telling people to mortgage right now at 8%. You know, like, again, the biggest argument they're going to use is like, well, it's still going to keep up with inflation, right? But the problem is that people are used to 2.5%, which is where we were 2, 3, 4 years ago. Cash is good, you know, cash is good now, but with the threats of real estate correcting, especially commercial, you know, I think there's a lot of risks going on right now in that type of stuff. You know, I guess the question is, are you guys buying a home right now? So Tesla earnings out, third quarter revenue 23.4, missed. Quarter three adjusted EPS 66 cents versus 74-cent miss. Free cash flow 848 million. They expected 2.59 billion, missed. Third quarter gross margin came in at 17.9%. They expected 18%. So Tesla missed on everything almost. They are green, but again, that's mostly from confirmation, potential confirmation, at least in the Cybertruck. So again, we got 15 minutes. 15 minutes, guys. You have a great radio voice. Honestly, I always thought my voice was kind of scratchy, you know. When I first wake up in the morning, it sounds really deep. In my head, it sounds really high-pitched. Like, in my head, I sound like Pee Wee Herman, you know. And so, yeah, I don't know if I have a good radio voice or not. I think I've streamed for so long that I'm used to it. And so I can... You know, I find myself repeating things a lot, but I think that's necessary when you stream for hours and hours. I think I'm going to repeat myself. I think that's pretty reasonable expectation. Yeah, I mean, Here's 10-year Treasury bonds, again at 4.9%. If we look at, where'd it go? Where's the T? There it is. There's the T. '20-year Treasury. Tesla's starting to creep up. Again, I'm also looking at, again, Roku has had a good time lately because Roku is going to benefit from Tesla's benefit. You sound better than Seth Rogen. Yeah, my whole family likes to make fun of my laugh. They say I chuckle like a little girl, like I go hee hee hee. You know, my whole family makes fun of my laugh. But my argument back to them is at least I'm not Seth Rogen in terms of voice. You know, at least I don't have Seth Rogen's laugh, which I'm not even gonna attempt to, you know, imitate. Impression. Your voice has character and a humorous vibe. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna take that as a compliment, I guess. Thanks for what you do, bro. I prefer your live session over many. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate the support, man. We try. You know. I'm definitely doing this, you know, purely out of the kindness in my heart. You know, definitely doing this to help people out. You know, I'm not even financially motivated at all. But with that said, if you want to check out one of my sponsors, check out TopStep. TopStep, a great funded account program for futures. They give you a demo and they test your skill. You can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, currencies, gold, silver. There's no PDT rule when you day trade futures. You can day trade short, buy market, sell market, you know, all that good stuff, but there's no PDT rule. So if you want to day trade, you should probably try futures over cash accounts, over penny stocks. It's just going to be more reliable. You're going to have more freedom. And these funded account programs are allowed. The base one on TopStep's $49. If you lose, it's not the end of the world. But if you're good enough to pass it, you get funding between $50K up to $150K with a 90% split. And there's free funding coaches. You get to keep your first $10K in profit. And it just teaches you how to trade with less risk. Again, I think most people are going to lose. But regardless of whether you lose or not, you're going to learn, and it's going to be a lot cheaper to try this than putting up thousands of dollars yourself. And so if you want to check it out, here's a great way to do so. Check out the link right here. And they are a sponsor of mine. I'm certainly biased in their favor because they pay me money. And sorry, I had to joke around with you guys a little bit. Obviously, I do this to make money. I'm not doing this out of the kindness of my heart. That was kind of a joke to lead into the plug. But I appreciate the love, guys. Thanks so much. Yeah, it was sarcasm, Isaac. I was just joking. Of course, I'm not doing this out of the kindness of my heart. I'm spending 4 hours here, bro. I'm not streaming for 7 hours a day out of the kindness of my heart. Nobody is. And I'd rather watch somebody that's honest about it than watch somebody who, like, I hear so many nonsense people on Twitter like, hey, I just like helping people. I just like teaching. They say, it's like, bro, get the F out of here. Of course you don't just like teaching. Like, you're here to make money. Like, just be real about it. I'd respect them a lot more if they were honest about it. You know what I mean? But they're not. They're just full of crap. They're just like, oh, I want to help people. It's like, dude. Anyways, I'll rant about that all day. Yeah, I know. I thought it was going to be a face for radio comment. You sound like a Jersey dude. I've had a lot of people say I sound like I'm from Jersey. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So I'm actually from the South. You know, but Baton Rouge is like an hour away from New Orleans. And so I think that's the accent y'all hear come out sometimes. I don't have the deepest Louisiana accent anymore because I've been streaming for years. And so I think I've kind of lost it as time goes on. But certain things I say, it also depends on who I'm talking to. Like if I hear somebody else with a Southern accent, it'll kind of come out a little bit. Not like I'm oblivious to it. It's not like I'm intentionally trying to speak with a Southern accent. I think it's just subconscious, or I'm unconsciously or subconsciously doing it. But yeah. Do you speak French? No, not really. Know a little bit of Spanish, but I can count to 10 in French. All right, Tesla 246 is here. Will they debut the Cybertruck? We got 9 minutes here, team. 9 minutes. Whew, bro, the sun's been in my eyes for like an hour now. I'm really just kind of ready for this thing to start. Forget about it, Fugazi. All right. Yeah, Roku's up again. I'm still in Netflix. I'm only holding a little piece, and I am in Tesla still. Netflix still at 390s. It's mostly been flat, though. I think a lot of people are waiting for the Tesla earnings call to start here. I think most people are just kind of seeing if they're going to confirm the Cybertruck or not. All right, y'all got to remind me to switch my headphones out because I have AirPods in and these things are not going to last. Actually, I probably could just switch them out now. My equities could be a lot worse today, though. We were down much more prior to Tesla earnings coming out. I think Tesla earnings kind of helped us here. All right, so let me switch this out and actually get my regular headphones in. Again, we got 7 minutes, guys. You can see the timer right there. Is the production and making of Teslas bad for the world? I know nothing about these kinds of things, but I thought they were good for the planet. Well, honestly, it's more nuanced than that. It's not like right? Is not lithium is not necessarily good to mine environmentally. So mining lithium is not really good environmentally, of course. But the argument is that the benefit of no exhaust in emissions makes EVs better for the world despite the lithium mining aspect of production, if that makes sense, right? So it's nuanced. Like, okay, bro, headphones. So apparently my headphones just cannot. Sorry, I'm gonna have to turn these off. Wait, see if I can connect these. All right, so yeah, nuance. Like, I would say that here's the argument, or here's what I see with this, right? Can y'all hear the music? Number one, can you hear the music? So the production of EV vehicles is worse for the world, right? Specifically, lithium battery, like lithium they use for the batteries is bad environmentally. So producing the EVs is worse, but driving the EVs is better, right? So like driving EVs, there's no exhaust, there's no emissions coming out of your exhaust pipe. And so in that regard, it's obviously and self-evidently better than internal combustion motors. But the trade-off is that to produce those EVs, it's more environmentally taxing than producing standard internal combustion motors, right? So like that's the nuance of it. So it's a little bit of both. Again, I always take the environmental argument out of it and I look at pure efficiency of vehicles. So I can kind of say, okay, those cancel each other out, right? So now let's look at how efficient the vehicles are. EVs are faster, smoother, give you a better ride, or more inept at meshing with technology, as well as the mileage is better in the vehicles overall, right? And I think those are all things that are objectively true, or obviously and self-evidently true. And so with that, I think regardless of environmental arguments, because again, it's nuanced. There's multiple arguments and they all make sense. But I think when you look at the efficiency of vehicles, I think EVs trump internal combustion motors that we currently have. And I think it's very obvious that they do. Again, that's excluding environmental. The only real argument against EVs is environmental because of, again, specifically the lithium mining aspect of it. We got 4 minutes, guys, 4 minutes. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on stream. Yeah, for sure, Marcos. The sun is just... again, make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. You want to make sure your live button is red like this. That means you're fully caught up on stream. You're going to catch everything live as it happens. Again, here's the live button right there. You want to make sure it's fully live on stream. You want to make sure your live button is red like that. The circle is red to make sure you're fully caught up on stream. Make sure you're fully live on stream. Earnings call starts at about 3.5 minutes. Yeah, basically, Sam. That's basically it. Yeah, let's. How many times will they say Cybertruck in this earnings call? Is the real question. How many times will they say Cybertruck? Can y'all hear the music? All right, team. All right, so we tapped $3.95 on Netflix. Again, earnings call starts pretty soon. Let me get everything set up here. All right, we are ready. All right, so again, let me confirm. Y'all can hear the music, correct? Pretty sure I hear hold music. Okay, good. I like solar cars. Yeah. I like French fry oil cars myself personally, but your hat is shining. Yeah, you know, it's one of those new shiny hats. Hey, we got a minute left, guys. Yes, music. Okay, good. Netflix had good earnings, good EPS, good sales, good guidance. Potential raising prices soon because of password sharing crackdown last few quarters benefiting it. All right, team. Here we go. Less than a minute. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to mute the music, or I'm going to turn off the music real quick so I can get it really ready here. All right, so here we go. All right, so yeah, they're still waiting. All right, again, we're turning off the music. All right, so again, we're live waiting here, so it should be starting up pretty soon. Yes, you'll be able to hear the call. Again, I'm going to put just Tesla up here so we can watch just specifically Tesla here. We're waiting for the call to start. The call hasn't started yet. Again, there's terrible hold music, though. Again, so we're just kind of patiently waiting. This music's bad. Feels like I just walked into Abercrombie and Fitch. Feels like a Matrix style pub in New York. All right, here we go. I think it's about to start. All right, sound check. All right, so nothing's going. All right, so there's nothing actually playing here. We're just waiting. I'm hoping they don't play some really bad play music now. All right, waiting. Silence. All right, Tesla. What you guys doing? Again, everything's unmuted. We're waiting for it to start. They haven't started yet, I promise. Yeah, we're waiting here, guys. I'm sorry. They just haven't started yet. And again, it's not me. We're on the official site. We're on livestream.tesla.com. And they are just not starting yet. You can see there's no price action here, movement from it either. I check theirs too, just to make sure.
We believe there's still new factories, meaningful room for improvement. And we believe there's still, regarding autopilot and AI, our vehicles now driven over 500 million miles with FSD beta, full self-driving beta.
Sound check.
And that number is growing rapidly. We recently completed a 10,000 GPU cluster of H100s. We think probably bringing it into operation faster than anyone's ever brought that much compute per unit time into production, since training is the fundamental limiting factor on progress with full self-driving and vehicle autonomy. We're also seeing significant promise with FSD version 12. This is the end-to-end AI where it's photon count in, controls out. Or really, you can think of it as there's just a large bit stream coming in and a tiny bit stream going out, compressing reality into a very small set of outputs, which is actually kind of how humans work. The vast majority of human data input is optics from our eyes. And so we are, like the car, photons in, controls out, with neural nets, just neural nets in the middle. It's very interesting to think about that. We will continue to invest significantly in AI development, as this is really the massive game changer. And I mean, success in this regard in the long term, I think, has the potential to make Tesla the most valuable company in the world by far. If you have fully autonomous cars at scale and fully autonomous humanoid robots that are truly useful, it's not clear what the limit is. Regarding energy storage, we deployed 4 gigawatt hours of energy of storage products in Q3. And as this business grows, the energy division is becoming our highest margin business. Energy and service now contribute over $500 million to quarterly profit. The Cybertruck, I know a lot of people are excited about the Cybertruck. I am too. I've driven the car. It's an amazing product. I do want to emphasize that there will be enormous challenges in reaching volume production with the Cybertruck, and then in making the Cybertruck cash flow positive. This is simply normal for when you've got a product with a lot of new technology, or any new vehicle, brand new vehicle program, but especially one that is as different and advanced as the Cybertruck, you will have problems proportionate to how many new things you're trying to solve at scale. So I just want to emphasize that while I think this is potentially our best product ever, and I think it is our best product ever, it is going to require immense work to reach volume production and be cash flow positive at a price that people can afford. often people do not understand what is truly hard. That's why I say prototypes are easy, production is hard. People think it's the idea, or you make a prototype, you design a car, and it's not as though designing a car is that just anyone can do it. It does require taste. It does require effort to design a prototype. But the difficulty of going from a prototype to volume production is like 10,000% harder to get to volume production than to make the prototype in the first place. And then it is even harder than that to reach positive cash flow. That is why there have not been new car startups that have been successful for 100 years, apart from Tesla. So, I just want to temper expectations for Cybertruck. It's a great product, but financially, it will take, a year to 18 months before it is a significant positive cash flow contributor. I wish there was some way for that to be different, but that's my best guess. So really the demand is off the charts. We have over 1 million people who have reserved the car, so it's not a demand issue, but we have to make it, and we need to make it at a price that people can afford. Insanely difficult things. In conclusion, we continue to focus on ramping production while maintaining positive cash flow, and we continue to target and expect to have around 1.8 million vehicle deliveries, as stated earlier this year. The Tesla AI team is, I think, one of the world's best, and I think it is actually by far the world's best when it comes to real-world AI. I'll say that again. Tesla has the best real-world AI team on Earth, period. And it's getting better. And lastly, I wanted to thank all of our employees who are making a lot of extra effort during uncertain times. Thank you very much for your hard work and the impact that you're making.
Thank you very much, Elon. And our CFO, Vaibhav, had some opening remarks as well.
Thanks, Martin. Our vehicle deliveries in Q3 outpaced production, and we had yet another record quarter of profitability in our energy business. Congratulations to the Tesla team for their continued focus on operational excellence as we navigate through a period of economic uncertainty, higher interest rates, and shifting consumer sentiment. As Elon mentioned, our Q3 operational and financial performance was impacted by planned downtimes for our factory upgrades. This was necessary to allow for further factory improvements and production rate increases. Despite such factory shutdowns, our cost per vehicle decreased to approximately $37,500. We saw sequential decreases in material costs and freight. Reducing the cost of our vehicles is our top priority. On the operating expenses front, R&D expenses continue to rise due to Cybertruck prototype builds and pilot production testing, combined with spend on AI technologies like full self-driving, Optimus, and Dojo. We have and will continue to make investments in these areas, and hence our capital expenditure and R&D will continue to grow in the near term. However, our focus is to continue making investments through positive cash flow from operations. This year itself, we have generated operating cash flows of approximately $8.9 billion and free cash flows of approximately $2.3 billion. Our other businesses are becoming more prominent on a standalone basis, with energy business leading the charge primarily from the growth in megawatt deployments. Our services and other businesses on a year-on-year basis also continue to show positive momentum as we benefit from our growing fleet. As regards our pricing strategy, in addition to what we have shared before, I want to elaborate that most car buying happens with one or other form of financing, and hence we also view pricing in terms of monthly costs for the customer. And therefore, as interest costs in the US have risen substantially, it has required us to adjust the price of our vehicles to keep the monthly cost in parity. We've tried to offset such adjustments via our focus on reducing costs. However, there is an inherent lag in cost reductions, which in turn impacts margins. To that extent,
Thank you very much. And now let's go to investor questions. The first investor question comes from Craig. How many Cybertruck deliveries do you anticipate for 2024?
It's difficult to make an accurate guess at this point. Going back to what I said earlier, that the ramp is going to be extremely difficult. Like I said, there's no way around that. If you try to make, if we just try to do some copycat vehicle design, of which there are literally 200 models that are slight variations on a theme in the combustion engine world, just distinctions without a difference, then it's really not that hard. But if you want to do something radical and innovative and something really special like the Cybertruck, it is extremely difficult because there's nothing to copy. You have to invent not just the car, but the way to make the car. So the more uncharted the territory, the less predictable the outcome. Now, I can say that if you say, well, where will things end up? I think we'll end up with roughly 250,000 Cybertrucks a year. But I don't think we're going to reach that output rate next year. I think we'll probably reach it sometime in 2025. That's my best guess.
Thank you. The second question is, can you provide a progress update on the 4680 cell, particularly progress towards performance improvements and cost savings outlined on Battery Day? Thank you.
Sure thing, Martin. 4680 cell production in Texas increased 40% quarter over quarter. Congrats to the Texas team for producing their 20 million cell off of line 1. Texas is now our primary 4680 facility. We're heavily focused on quality. Scrap is down 40% quarter over quarter. With the increased volume and yield improvements, cell costs consistently improved month over month within the quarter, although we have a lot more work to do to achieve our steady state goals. And that is our priority. The Cybertruck cell, with 10% higher energy than our Model Y cell, started production on line 2 in Texas. This quarter, we convert to building 100% Cybertruck cells to simplify and focus the factory as we ramp all 4 lines in phase 1 over the next 3 quarters. Phase 2 of the Texas 4680 facility is currently under construction. The additional 4 lines incorporate further capital efficiencies over phase 1, and our target is for them to start producing in late 2024. Lastly, in Cato, we're retooling to enable large-scale pallet runs of our next-generation cell designs. Cato's long-term goal is to be the launch pad for new cells, 1 generation ahead of our mass production facilities, enabling faster iteration and smoother ramp-ups of new designs.
Thank you. The next question from institutional investors: could you please provide an update on capacity expansion plans for companies' factories in Berlin and Austin, and the opening schedule of Gigafactory Mexico?
Berlin and Austin factory, the current priority is actually maximize the output from our existing lines by laser focus on efficiency improvements. As always, maintaining a high quality and the reducing per unit cost will be as critical as growing the production volume. For Mexico, we're working on infrastructure and factory design in parallel with the engineering development of the new production that will be manufactured there. That's all I can share for that.
In Mexico, we're laying the groundwork to begin construction and doing all the long lead items. But I think we want to just get a sense for what the global economy is like before we go full tilt on the Mexico factory. I'm worried about the high interest rate environment that we're in. I just can't emphasize this enough. that for the vast majority of people, buying a car is about the monthly payment. And as interest rates rise, the proportion of that monthly payment that is interest increases naturally. So that's if interest rates remain high, or if they go even higher, it's that much harder for people to buy the car. They simply cannot afford it. And we are tracking, I believe, at this point for Model Y to be the best-selling car on Earth, but not just in revenue, but in unit volume. If you compare that to the other vehicles that are, number 2 and number 3 and whatnot, they cost much less than our car. So we're just hitting law of large numbers situations here. I know people want us to advertise, and we are advertising. I think there is something to be gained on the advertising front. I don't think it's nothing, but informing people of a car that is great that they cannot afford doesn't really help. So that is really the thing that must be solved, is to make the car affordable, or the average person cannot buy it for any amount of money, or they simply can't afford it. They can't afford it. So this is a big deal.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question is, when do you expect Model 3 Highland to be available in the US? I just wanted to address that. Unfortunately, we don't answer product-related questions and timings on earnings calls, so let's go to the next one. Current sell-side consensus assumes that Tesla will deliver 2.3 million vehicles in 2024, representing 28% growth versus 2023 guidance. Is this growth rate achievable without any mass market launches in 2024? And when does Tesla expect to return to its 50% long-term CAGR?
Thanks for the question. When we look at 2024, there are a lot of moving pieces. Elon just talked about what is happening in the macroeconomic environment. So we're focused on growing our volumes in a very cost-efficient manner and are carefully reviewing all our options, and we'll be able to provide a much more meaningful update at our next earnings call.
Yeah, I mean, the risk of stating the obvious, it is not possible to have a compound growth rate of 50% forever, or you will exceed the mass of the known universe. But I think we will grow very rapidly and much faster than any other car company on Earth by far.
Thank you. Next question is, do you have an approximate timeline in mind for the robotaxi, driven or non-driven? What excites you most about how this project is progressing?
Well, the robotaxi is necessarily non-driven. I guess I'm very excited about our progress with autonomy. The end-to-end, nothing but nets, self-driving software is amazing. I drives me all around Austin with no interventions. So it's clearly the right move. So it's really pretty amazing. And obviously that same software and approach will enable Optimus to do useful things, and enable Optimus to learn how to do things simply by looking. So extremely exciting in the long term. As I mentioned before, given that economic output is number of people times productivity, if you no longer have a constraint on people, effectively you've got a humanoid robot that can do as much as you'd like. Your economy is quasi infinite, or infinite for all intents and purposes. So, and I don't think anyone's going to do it better than Tesla, not by a long shot. Yeah, Boston Dynamics is impressive, but their robot lacks a brain. Sort of like the Wizard of Oz or whatever.
Good man.
Yeah, lacks a brain. And then you also need to be able to design the humanoid robot in such a way that it can be mass manufactured. And then at some point, the robots will manufacture the robots. Now, obviously, we need to make sure that there's a good place for humans in that future, and we do not create some variant of the Terminator outcome. So we're going to put a lot of effort into localized control of the humanoid robot. So basically anyone will be able to shut it off locally, and you can't change that even if with like a software update, you can't change that. It has to be hard coded.
Thank you. The next question is, why was the price dropped on FSD if it is getting better and robotaxi is expected so soon?
Well, we just wanted to make it more affordable, so more people could try it. I think over time the price of FSD will increase proportionate to its value. So I would regard the current price as a kind of a temporary low.
Thank you. The next question is again on FSD. Mercedes is accepting legal liability for when its level 3 autonomous driving system Drive Pilot is active. Is Tesla planning to accept legal liability for FSD? And if so, when?
Well, there's a lot of people that assume we have legal liability, judging by the lawsuits. We're certainly not being let off the hook on that front, whether we would like to or wouldn't like to. So,
I mean, I think it's important to remember for everyone that Mercedes' system is limited to a few roads in Nevada and some certain cities in California. It doesn't work in the snow or the fog. It must have a lead car, marked lanes, only 40 miles per hour. Our system is meant to be holistic and drive in any conditions. So we obviously have a much more capable approach, but with those kind of limitations, it's really not very useful.
I think some people understand the profundity of the Tesla AI system. Most people, but very, very few. It's basically baby AGI. It has to understand reality in order to drive. Baby AGI.
Thank you. The next question on Optimus. Will Optimus be working on Gigafactory lines next year? If so, how many would you guess will be deployed?
I think at this point we are not ready to discuss details of the Optimus program, but we will provide periodic updates online. So as you can see, where Optimus a year ago could barely walk, and now it can do yoga. So a few years from now, it can probably do ballet.
Sounds good. And the last question from investors is, neural net path planning represents a significant advance in capability and safety for FSD. What steps is Tesla taking to make this technology available outside the US?
Yeah, our approach has been to try to get it, like the more places we try to make it work, the harder the problem is. So the reason we don't do it in all countries simultaneously is that it would take much longer to make it work anywhere at all. That's why it's currently just North America. And also for most parts of the world, you have to get approval before deploying things. Whereas in the US, you can deploy things at risk, or at least you take liability for what you deploy. So whereas most countries require some sort of extensive approval program. So we only want to go through that extensive approval program when we think it's kind of ready for prime time in that country. I apologize that it's not in those countries, but we keep finding ways to make it better, and it needs to drive. It needs to drive such that it exceeds the even unsupervised, significantly exceeds the probability of injury of a human. Or significantly better, a lower probability of injury than a human by far. I think we're tracking to that point very quickly. Obviously, in the past, I've been overly optimistic about this. The reason I've been overly optimistic is that the progress tends to sort of look like a log curve, which is that you have kind of rapid initial improvements, and that if you were to extrapolate that sort of rapid, fairly linear rate of improvement, you get to self-driving quite quickly, but then the rate of improvement curves over logarithmically and starts to asymptote. That's now happened several times. I would characterize our progress in real-world AI as a series of stacked log curves. I think that is also true in other parts of AI, like LLMs and whatnot. Series of stacked log curves. Each log curve gets higher than the last one. So if you keep stacking them, keep stacking logs, eventually you get to FSD.
Thank you. Let's now go to analyst questions. The first question comes from Will Stein from Truist. Will, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Great. Thanks so much for taking my question, and thanks for all the updates today. We learned earlier in the call, it sounds like you don't think the truck will ramp to significant volume until its third year of production. Should we have a similar anticipation for the ramp of the next-gen platform, or is there any reason that we should be maybe more optimistic or pessimistic about the ramp profile there? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, it's not really the third year of production. It's kind of like the 18th month of production is roughly my guess. So it's just that it'll happen is that it starts this year, spans next year, and gets to 2025. So technically there are 3 calendar years in there, but there's actually only 18 months, not 3 years. I would be very disappointed if it took us, and that would be shocking if it took us 3 years. But 18 months from initial deliveries to reach volume and reach prosperity with an immense, I can't tell you how much the blood, sweat, and tears level required to achieve that is just staggering. I've been through it many times. And then here we go again.
Similar path for the next gen platform?
I mean, there's like unique complexity to Cyber.
Yeah. I mean, Cybertruck is. Yeah, I mean, we dug our own grave with Cybertruck. Nobody, in general, I probably nobody digs their grave better than themselves, and so, it is. Cybertruck is one of those special products that comes along only once in a long while. And special products that come along once in a long while are just incredibly difficult to bring to market, to reach volume, to be prosperous. It's fundamental to the nature of the newness. So now the sort of high volume, low cost, smaller vehicle is actually much more conventional.
In terms of like the technologies we're putting into it, we didn't have to invent how to bend full hard stainless steel or have mega 9,000 ton castings or the largest hot stamping in the world or new high voltage
revolutionary quite in the same way as the Cybertruck. I think it will be quite a fast ramp. So as Lars was saying, we're doing everything possible to simplify that vehicle in order to achieve a units per minute level that is unheard of in the auto industry.
Yeah, I mean, the simplification makes it easier to automate. It also makes it lower cost.
Yeah,
it's intrinsically lower cost.
Yeah. Let's be clear: it'll be cool, but it's utilitarian. It's not meant to be, fill you with, awe and magic. It's to get you from A to B. It'll be still beautiful, but it's utilitarian. It's a utility.
That's not 14 inches of travel under suspension.
Yeah,
As an example.
yeah. So, I mean, the Cybertruck has a lot of bells and whistles.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go to Pierre Ferragut from New Street Research.
Hey, can you hear me fine? Yes?
Yes.
Hey, I have first a follow-up question on FSD and pricing and adoption. So I agree with you that as FSD improves, we should see its value increasing. But I guess the ultimate value of FSD, which is to be able to handle a robo-taxi, is not going to necessarily interest everybody. And you have a bit of a degraded version that would be like a chauffeur service where the car drives by itself, but you still have to be in the car and around. And then there is the hands-on, eyes-on version of the service. And I guess, there should be much lower cost, lower feature kind of variants of the service that could have a very large penetration on your install base and more expensive one that would remain at a lower penetration level. So I'm just wondering if you're taking that. And last but not least, the simplest version of FSD are available and are going to work from a technical perspective probably before the ultimate robotaxi version can work, if ever. And so I'm wondering how you take that into account in how you're thinking the financial contribution of FSD over time, and whether you could evolve your pricing along that kind of tiers to increase adoption.
Yeah, I mean, a fully autonomous vehicle, I think here sort of the economics of a fully autonomous vehicle are truly astounding in a positive way. When you look at passenger vehicles today, they only get about 10 to 12 hours of usage per week. That's, if you drive an hour and a half a day on average, that's roughly 10 hours a week out of 168 hours. And then there's also, you got to have parking and insurance. You got to take care of the car. It's there's a lot of overhead. So, I mean, yeah, it's the economics of the system are just insanely positive. If given that the car, all of the cars we're making and have made for a while, we believe are capable of full autonomy. So then if you're able to, say, increase the utility of that car by a factor of 5, which still only means that it's being used for maybe 50 hours a week out of 168. So you're still assuming that still assumes less than a third of the hours of the week is doing something useful. You've increased the value of that by 5, but it still costs the same. You have something, then we're a hardware company with software margins.
Pierre, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, I'd have actually a follow-up on a different topic for you, Vaibhav, if that's okay. It's about like your gross margin in the quarter. Could you give us a sense of like in how the gross margin evolved sequentially? How much was the impact of idle costs? How much was like the sequential benefit, I imagine, of production ramping at Berlin and Austin? And then I saw like this massive jump in energy storage, very strong positive surprise. So if you can give us the background on that and tell us, how we should think about that gross margin going forward.
Okay, thanks for that question. So in terms of, you have a few different aspects of your question. So if I just look at from Q3 perspective, obviously factory idle time had an impact. It did impact by, I won't give you the exact percentage, but it had decent impact for the quarter. And, when you look at the other pieces which we're trying to do, we did see certain of our other factories ramping up pretty well, right? And they actually contributed pretty well to the margin for this quarter. In fact, one of the factories came pretty close to, in terms of per unit costs, to where we are for one of our other established factory, which is Fremont. So that was a positive in the quarter. And when it comes to energy margins, Megapack deployment was the key driver there. And that product has done well. On the cost curve also, we've been able to do a lot there. But I do want to caution that, Megapack deployments are a bit lumpy. So yes, we had a great quarter this period, but depending upon where we are trying to deploy that product in different markets, you would see periods wherein there would be downward pressure on deployment because of us trying to get the product to the exact place where
product in transit. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to Rod Lash from Wolfe Research. Rod, feel free to unmute yourself.
Thanks. Really nice to see the rate of vehicle cost improvement despite the downtime that you took. You've taken now about $2,000 out of the average vehicle cost over the past year. Can you give us maybe a sense of the rate of improvement that you see from the changes that you alluded to, the factory changes you alluded to? Is there a way maybe to convey the speed of improvement on your existing product from here? And then related to that, can you share the timing of your next gen, the lower priced product that you talked about earlier this year?
Yeah, so just in terms of product margins, there are lots of puts and takes when you look into this. There are certain things which we control, and there are certain things which we don't control. We expect that we'll get some benefits from our cost reduction efforts, which are all underway. But on the other hand, we just finished our factory upgrades late in Q3. Some of these factories are still in the early ramp phase in Q4. We're still not up to where we want those factories to be, so they'll impact in the near term. Plus, like Elon mentioned, we're going to be ramping Cybertruck, which is going to be another headwind which we'll be dealing with. On top of all the, there's overall uncertainty in the macroeconomic environment, which even makes it harder to predict precisely as to where we land. But yes, this is something which, it's an evolving thing which we're observing every day and reacting to it on a daily basis.
I would just say that on the cost reduction efforts, like we are unflagging in our pursuit of additional cost downs for 2024. We do have a good pipeline of them and work on both the engineering side and the factory operation side. And, our intention is to maintain or exceed the trend that you saw. We're trying as hard as we possibly can.
The timing of the next gen product, can you share that?
Not at this time.
Okay. And just as a follow-up, obviously price is also a driver of demand, but that's obviously not happening in a vacuum. And you mentioned that, I think you mentioned it at some point during this call that you're also maybe hitting the law of large numbers on some of your products. Can you just share how you're thinking about price elasticity just at this point and in this macro environment, and any thoughts along those lines?
I think that there's very significant price elasticity. I mean, to be totally frank, if our car cost the same as a RAV4, nobody would buy a RAV4. Or at least they're very unlikely to. It's worth noting that a lot of these incentives, like the tax credit and whatnot, but they're actually very difficult for the average person to access because most people do not have 10 grand, or even $7,500 burning a hole in their bank account. Large number of people are living paycheck to paycheck and with a lot of debt. They've got credit card debt, mortgage debt. So yeah, that's reality for most people. It's sometimes difficult for people who are high income earners. And I'd say high would be like someone who's earning over $200,000 a year to understand what life is like for someone who is earning $50 or $60 or $70,000 a year, which is most people. So that, like, for a lot of people, like these tax credits, just they can't front $7,500 for 18 months or even 6 months to get for the tax credit, and they actually don't. In some cases, even have that. Then I have $7,500 in taxes. So, it's really just the vast majority of people is how much money do they have to pay immediately and how much per month. That's it. And you can stop right there. And a car is still much more expensive than a RAV4 when you look at it that way.
Yeah, one other thing which I'll add, when you look at, car buying in general, we're trying to get to the next set of EV adapters. And
Not an EV adapter, just
next.
Who wants a great car?
Exactly.
It's not a, sometimes you get these like, honestly, I'd say it's like somewhat correlates with the why doesn't everyone work from home crowd. I'm like, I mean, this is like some real Marie Antoinette vibes from people that say, why doesn't everyone work from home? Like, what about all the people that have to come to the factory and fill the cars? What about all the people that have to go to the restaurant and make your food and deliver your food? It's like, what are you talking about? I mean, how detached from reality does the work from home crowd have to be? While they take advantage of all those who cannot work from home. So, I mean, you have to say, like, why did I sleep in the factory so many times? Because it mattered. So I just can't emphasize how important cost is. It's not an optional thing for most people. It is a necessary thing. We have to make our cars more affordable so people can buy it. And I keep harping on this interest thing, but I mean, it just raises the cost of the car. I mean, we're looking at an internal analysis, which we think is more or less on track. That when you look at the cost or the price reductions we've made in, say, the Model Y, and you compare that to how much people's monthly payment has risen due to interest rates, the price of the Model Y is almost unchanged.
If you factor in the change in interest rates.
Yes, which is the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. The thing that matters is the monthly pay. It's how much money do they have to put down, and do they literally have that in their bank account, or will the check bounce? And then, what is the monthly payment? And it doesn't matter if that monthly payment is principal, interest, or whatever. It's just a number, and that number has to not cause their bank account to go negative. That's it. So, going from near zero interest rates to the current very high interest rates, the actual monthly payment is basically the same. It's just a bunch more of it is going to interest. And there are some incremental challenges beyond that, which is the difficulty of getting credit at all has increased. And so the number of people who simply cannot get credit, period. Even if they've got a job and everything's solid, the banks are, a little gun shy on handing out credit, given that a bunch of them kicked the bucket earlier this year.
Yeah, there's also just fewer options. Even if they want to hand out credit, there's fewer banks to go to.
It's like, does your bank still exist?
Yeah.
Well, if your bank does not exist, you have to establish a relationship with a new bank. So a lot of regional banks are, died. And I mean, even Credit Suisse, I mean, geez, that was a shocker. Got a 160-year-old-ish Swiss institution that doesn't exist anymore. That's mind-blowing. And I think there's still quite a few shoes to drop on the bad credit situation. Commercial real estate obviously is in terrible shape. Credit card debt has been rising significantly. The credit card interest rates are usurious. Over 20% interest rates, meaning which over time it becomes obviously extremely punishing. Because if somebody's paying 20% interest on their credit cards, it means they cannot pay them off. And if you cannot pay them off and you're still accruing interest at 20%, that's headed to a bad place.
Thank you. Let's go to the next question from George from Canaccord.
Thank you for taking my question. Just to focus on the cost per vehicle, coming down in future quarters, as you discussed in your written remarks. I'm curious as to what the levers of that could be. Is it more scale, more factory utilization? Is it material cost reductions? Is it things like gigacasting? I mean, could you just kind of give us some data points to give us confidence that that's going to come down over time? And if I can sneak one in, please. There are press reports, and I know how perilous it is to believe some of these, but they say that you've included radar as an option in some Model Ys in China, and I'm just here to ask if that's true, and if so, why? Thank you.
We've not included radar. We have radar as a Tesla designed radar as an experiment in the Model S and X. That's it. We'll see whether that experiment is worth it. But there are no plans to integrate radar into 3 and Y. Just as humans drive well, and in fact, an excellent human driver can drive with amazing safety simply with their eyes. The car will far exceed the average human safety just with vision, far. Because the car is looking in all directions at once, and we don't have eyes in the back of our head. So, the computer never gets tired, and never gets distracted, get drunk, hopefully. So radar is, it's not. What really matters is how much does it affect the probability of an accident. And in order for the radar to be effective, you have to be able to do radar-only braking. Or you have to do actions that are radar-only. Otherwise, you get this disambiguation problem between vision and radar. That's why we actually turned off the radar in cars historically that we had shipped. All 3 and Y used to have radar, but we turned it off because the radar actually generated more noise than signal. Now, the Tesla designed radar is a high-resolution radar that has some potential to be useful, but the jury is still very much out on whether that is in fact the case.
On the cost question, I guess from the vehicle side, as Drew mentioned earlier, we are always trying to engineer our products to be cheaper to make and more efficient to make. That comes obviously on the engineering side as we come up with new innovations, but as well on the supply chain side with our partners. We work with them to automate some of their lines, remove their bottlenecks and their high costs as well. On the logistics side, getting parts to the factory. It's not go ahead. It's not like a one thing that you have to attack cost everywhere. And we do it ruthlessly at all times.
Operations efficiency, all of the above.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's a whole laundry list of things which we are chasing. We internally call it the cost attack, where we're literally going line by line and saying, how can we make it better? And it's a grind.
It's a grind.
It's a game
of pennies. It's like Game of Thrones, but pennies. First approximation, if you've got a $40,000 car, and roughly 10,000 items in that car, that means each thing on average costs $4. So in order to get the cost down, say by 10%, you have to get 40 cents out of each part on average. It is a game of pennies.
We play it willingly.
We play it.
Yeah,
religiously.
we've done it many times. Even something as simple as like a sticker. Like there's too many stickers internally in the car that nobody ever sees. There's something as simple as a QR code. You might think, well, putting a QR code on part, why not just put them on there? It's like, well, are we actually going to use that QR code?
Costs a penny.
Yeah, exactly. And then inevitably, sometimes the QR code doesn't go on properly, or you can't read it properly, and then it stops the line.
Costs more than a penny.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it's chipping away with it. I mean, it is trying to. It does feel like digging a tunnel with a spoon at times.
Very much escaping prison.
Yeah.
On top of it, like we said, we did some factory upgrades, so we expect volume to go up. That would also bring some savings from higher production. But then on the flip side, we're going to be ramping a new product like Cybertruck, which we talked about. So those are the real puts and takes which we are working through.
Yeah, but there's not like some accidentally, some brick of gold that we've gotten in the car, unfortunately. And it's, we're trying to be very rigorous about improving the quality and capability of the car, because it's like any fool can reduce the cost of a car by making it worse, and just deleting functionality and capability, and that's how cool this sort of the any fool. It's like if you want to lose weight and you say, well, I need to lose whatever 15 pounds right away. Well, you could chop your arm off, but then you're sitting there with one arm, and you're still fat. So it's sort of like, you
gotta work at it.
Yeah, you actually have to eat less food and work out. That's the actual way. And
doctor's advice.
Yeah, it's not, super fun because food is delicious. And I personally am I don't love working out. I know some people do. I wish I did, but I don't. Unless moving the mouse consists of working out, in which case I love moving the mouse.
All right, let's go to Colin Langham from Wells Fargo. Colin, can you unmute yourself?
Oh, sorry about that. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, great. Thanks for taking my question. You said in the commentary that you're not going full tilt on the plant in Mexico until there's signs that the economy is strong. Can you continue at a 50% CAGR without that plant? And where would that come from? And any color on what you mean sort of not going full tilt? Could that plant get delayed indefinitely? Or what are we kind of talking about?
No, we're definitely making the factory in Mexico. We feel very good about that. We put a lot of effort into looking at different locations, and we feel very good about that location. And we are going to build a factory there, and it's going to be great. The question is really just one of timing, and I'm just going to be a broken record on the interest front. It's just the interest rates have to come down. Like if interest rates keep rising, you're just fundamentally reduce affordability. It is just the same as increasing the price of the car. So I just don't have visibility into it. If you can tell me what the interest rates are, I can tell you when we should build the factory. We're going to build it, and I mean, I think we'll start the initial phases of construction next year. But I am still somewhat scarred by 2009 when General Motors and Chrysler went bankrupt. So, well, that's now 14 years ago. It's that is seared into my mind with a branding iron. Because Tesla was just hanging on by a thread during that entire time, and when we closed our financing round in 2008 at 6 p.m. December 24th, Christmas Eve, and if we had not closed that financing round, we would have bounced payroll 2 days after Christmas. So we actually closed that round on the last hour of the last day that it was possible. Stressful, to say the least, and then barely made it through 2009. So I'm like, I want to just, I don't want to be going at top speed into uncertainty. A lot of wars going on in the world, obviously, as well.
And we have room here, like in Giga, Texas. You said we still have room in this building. It's not full with Cybertruck and Model Y, and there's plenty of growth opportunities still to have inside the building where our team already is.
We also have 2,000 acres here.
Yeah, so there's also a bunch more.
We're actually only occupying a tiny corner of the land that we have. But we could technically do all the scaling necessary just here. I mean, personnel is our biggest challenge in that the greater Austin area only has, generously, the greater Austin area only has 2 million people. So people are moving here and they're willing to move here, but there is somewhat of a housing crisis. They got to live somewhere. So yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I'm just curious. I'm not saying things will be bad. I'm just saying they might be, and I think Tesla is an incredibly capable ship, but if we need to make sure, like, if the macroeconomic conditions are stormy, even if the best ship is still going to have tough times, the weaker ships will sink. We're not going to sink, but even a great ship in a storm has challenges. Now that storm will apply to everyone, not just us, and not just the auto industry. It'll apply to everyone, I think. So apart from necessary sort of staples like food and stuff, but so I don't know. If interest rates start coming down, we will accelerate.
All right.
If anybody's got any guesses on this, I'd love to be less wrong. And I apologize if I'm perhaps more paranoid than I should be, because that might also be the case, because I have PTSD from 2009, big time. And in 2017 through 19 were not picnic either. That was very, very tough going. So, the auto industry is also somewhat cyclic. It's because, people tend to hesitate to buy a new car, and if there's uncertainty in the economy. So it's, car companies do very well in good economic times, and they don't do as well in tough economic times. So it's just, whereas if somebody's selling bread, then I think that people still need to have bread. Yeah. Yeah, you need bread. You need food all the time, but new car you don't have to have right this minute.
especially if there are wars going on, and then that impacts your sentiment.
Yeah. I mean, if people are reading about wars all over the world, if this, buying a new car tends to not be front of mind.
All right. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. Thank you very much for all of your good questions, and we'll see you again in 3 months. Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Okay, yeah, dude. Everybody's yelling at me. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm sorry. Listen, what I was saying is that Elon could have been way better with his timing. Okay, Elon, why in the world are you going to open up with, hey, Cybertruck could be coming out this year, but our margins suck and we're not going to benefit from it until 2025, bro? That's the first thing you say, Elon. What are you thinking, man? I respect the honesty, but if you want the stock to go up, bro, say it at the very end. Slip that in at the very end of the earnings call. Don't say that first 2 sentences. Hey, the Cybertruck is not going to be really profitable for us. Basically it's going to be a money pit and we're not going to profit from it until 2025. Oh, hey guys, welcome to the earnings call. Just bad timing, bro. Bad timing. Anyways, I can respect the honesty, but still as a shareholder, stop it, Elon. Anyways, if you want to check out Top Step funded account program for futures, they give you a demo. They give you a demo. If you can hit the target on the demo without hitting the max loss, they fund you between 50K up to 150K with a 90% split. Great way to learn day trading with less risk. If you lose, you're out $49 for the base combine. If you're good enough to pass it, you get a 50K funded account with a 90% split, and you get to keep your first 10K in profit. There's no PDT in futures. You can day trade essentially the SPY in what's called the E-mini, essentially the Q in what's called the NASDAQ or the NQ, and the patterns are very similar to large cap stocks. They're a sponsor of mine. Great way to help support the channel. Check out the link. I love you all. Y'all be safe. I'll be back bright and early. We got Jerome Powell speaking tomorrow. We're going to stream it all live like we always do. So stick around. Good luck. I love you all. I'll be back tomorrow. Stay safe.